Hi, my name is Caroline, and from the day I was born, Mom has thought of me as a nuisance. No matter how hard I try to please her, I just always end up doing the wrong thing. You see, I was always clumsy, and I'd been causing minor disasters around the house even since I was born. Like one time when I was 2 years old, I climbed onto the bookshelf to take down a book and somehow managed to bring the whole thing down. Mom and Dad were freaked. They fired my nanny then, and since Dad was always away, Mom had to quit her job to look after me full-time. I think that's when she started hating me. She thought everything I ever did was wrong. On my 6th birthday, she said to her friends, "She's so annoying that she chose to come out in the middle of my pedicure. I had to go to the hospital with half my nails painted. Can you imagine? So annoying." I was so embarrassed that I tried to run out of the room, only to run smack into my cake. I sat in a pile of cake and felt so embarrassed, and Mom looked so annoyed that I did the stupidest thing on the planet. I ate a fistful of cake and said, "Yum, chocolate." Everyone just laughed harder, and someone said I was an idiot. Turns out, it was Mom. Later that night, I heard Mom on the phone with her friend, and she was crying like a baby. I just miss the good old days. I had a life. I felt so bad. I decided to surprise her with something awesome. I took a screwdriver and ran to the garage. I started to draw with it on the car. I made a whole scene with me and Mom in our house. She was gonna love it. I excitedly nudged her awake from her nap and led her to the garage. But I was so shocked when she went totally ballistic on me. "You're so dumb, Caroline! Your birthdays for the next 5 years are canceled!" And it doesn't get any better from here. You see, I grew up really insecure about my looks around Mom. She was beautiful herself, and her snarky comments always made me feel ugly. She'd say things like, "Your nose is just like your father's mother's," or "You really can't pull off that pink color," or "Do you really need to eat chocolate?" But one time when I was in the 7th grade, she had some friends over, and I heard her say it loud and clear. "I just wish my daughter was beautiful like me." I ran off to my room and stared at myself in the mirror. The only thing I had in common with her was my long black hair. I decided I would never cut it, but Mom was right. I was ugly. I was so upset with my reflection that I threw a shoe at the mirror, and it broke. Mom heard the noise and came running to my room. "What'd you do now? Clean that up." The next few years went by like that. Dad was a constant no-show most of the time. He sent money and gifts to make up for it though, and Mom insisted I needed to be a different person, while I had found a brilliant new hobby. You see, the day before my 16th birthday, I had found a gorgeous old set of sculpting tools in the attic. I didn't even bother asking Mom whose they were because I was afraid she might make me throw them out. Just then, Mom knocked on the door. She said she'd bought me a dress to wear on my birthday the next day, but to no one's surprise, it turned out to be the wrong size. I tried really hard to fit into it, but I just couldn't. "Why did you buy me such a small dress, Mom?" "To push you to eat fewer cookies and more veggies. The way you're eating, you're never gonna fit into anything nice." "But Mom, clothes are supposed to fit you. You aren't supposed to fit them. If you'd gotten me the right size, I would have looked just fine." "Just fine isn't the same as beautiful, Caroline. That's chubby girl talk." I was so angry with her and disappointed that I had nothing nice to wear, so I just canceled my birthday party and shut myself up in my room, blasting away loud music and doodling furiously in my art pad. A few hours later, I heard a knock at the door. Mom banged on the door saying Dad's gifts were here. After she left, I opened the door and pulled my gift inside. To my surprise, it was a fancy new set of sculpting tools and clay. He'd remembered. Over the next few weeks, I ended up turning my room into my studio. I started sculpting every day. I started to get obsessed. Cars, people, horses, everything. I even started doing it at school. One day, as I was rushing from class to the art room, I bumped into someone and all the miniature sculptures in my bag fell out and scattered everywhere. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." "No, it's okay. Just help me." I looked up and saw the school's basketball captain, Ron. I'd had a crush on him for a while, but he didn't even know I existed. And now he was helping me pick up my scattered miniatures. Suddenly, Ron looked at my work and let out a whistle. "Don't tell me you made these. They're brilliant." I'm pretty sure I'm very capable of making something brilliant, Ron.
No, of course. I meant you're really good. My aunt's a sculptor, and I just know she'd love your work.
Then he invited me to his home after school. I could not believe my ears. Ron's aunt was crazy talented, and she did seem really impressed with my work. Before I knew it, we had become friends. Not just us, but Ron too. I started hanging out more and more often at his place and sculpting in his aunt's studio. Before I knew it, we had become great friends, and my crush was back. One day while I was at Ron's place, his aunt showed me a poster of the sculpting contest, and wow! The prize was a scholarship to study art at the university. Ron said,
"If anyone can win it, it's you."
The way he said it gave me butterflies, and I decided I'd give it my best. I came back home thrilled, and I told my mom about my project, but Mom was anything but impressed.
A sculptor? I was hoping you'd become a doctor, a lawyer, or something that won't make you starve. Actually, on second thoughts, maybe that's not such a bad thing.
I tried to not let her get to me, but she made me so mad. I shut myself up for the weekend and sculpted with such passion that I dirtied the floor and sent clay water splattering onto the walls. I wouldn't even go down to eat with her. I just ordered pizzas and had the delivery boy hand them to me through my window. A few days later, as I was leaving for school, she barged in and was beyond furious. She completely ignored my beautiful pieces and only looked around at the mess with crazy eyes. What are you, a cave woman?
You're not going anywhere till you clean this garbage dump.
I'll clean it up, Mom. But why do you always see the ugly side of everything? Don't you have anything nice to say about my art? I couldn't care less about your stupid art. And with that, she walked away. I was so furious, I decided to do the only thing I knew would really get to her. I decided to cut all my long black hair and dye it. It was the only thing my mother and I had that was similar, and now I was different. When she saw me with bright blue short hair, she dropped the plate she was holding and simply said,
"Ah, completely ugly now."
I started spending as much time away from home, returning late and not answering my mom's calls. I spent most of my time at Ron's house working on my sculpture of Grace O'Malley, a fierce Irish pirate. She was such an iconic woman. One day when I returned home, I couldn't find my sculpture anywhere. So I asked Mom, and she casually said, "Your room looked like a dump." So I threw away everything. You what? Mom, I spent weeks on it. The competition is just 4 days away.
I told you to clean up your mess. I couldn't tell the art from the trash.
I was horrified and did the only thing that made sense. I turned around and ran out of my home. That night it was freezing outside and I didn't know where to go. I started crying, sitting on the street. Suddenly a car approached me. It was Ron. He said, since I hadn't shown up at his place when I was supposed to, he thought I might be in trouble. When I told him I'd left my house, he said I could stay at his place as long as I wanted. The next 3 days were crazy. I skipped school and worked on my sculpture all day long. I blocked Mom's number because she wouldn't stop calling to yell at me. But the day before the art contest, someone knocked at Ron's door. It was Dad. He wanted me to go home to Mom. Are you coming?
No, honey. I have to catch a flight in 30 minutes. Now, hurry up.
Forget it, Dad. I'm tired of how you and Mom have been. You're literally never there in my life. And Mom just hates me so much. I'm not going back to her.
She doesn't hate you. She loves you.
Yeah, of course. Now go, Dad. I don't need you either. I have other friends who can be there for me when I need it. With that, I slammed the door in his face. On the day of the art contest, I was very anxious. I tried to look around and find some familiar faces, but none were there for me. I looked at other people's art pieces, and I suddenly felt they were all better than mine. I wanted to go away. I took my small little statue and ran out of the exhibition crying. But at the door, I found Dad. He took one look at me and smiled. You came? How?
No one else gets to be my daughter's best friend and biggest support. Now tell me, you weren't running away, were you?
My work is really bad, Dad. It's not good.
Why don't you let the judges decide?
He led me back inside, and long story short, 2 hours later, I walked out with the first prize, 100% scholarship to my dream university. Just as I was about to leave the gallery, I saw something that surprised me. Mom was walking away from the far end of the crowd. I couldn't believe she'd come to see me tank, and now that I'd done well, she was just walking away? Well, she could do whatever. I was going to start college anyway. I started art school and started dating Ron. who asked me to be his girlfriend the day we graduated high school. After I finished college, Ron and I decided to buy a small gallery for me. I found a gorgeous little place, and the very first day, we found a lovely little sculpture tucked away in its storage. The real shocker, though, was that it looked very familiar. The gallery owner said, "Oh, it's just been collecting dust for 20 years. The artist was not very successful. Then she stopped working when she had a kid. This was her last piece. She called it Baby Caroline." I was stunned for a second when I realized why it was so familiar. The baby was wearing a necklace exactly like mine. My mom made this. I told the owner I was keeping it and wrapped it up. On Christmas that year, I took the sculpture and decided to see Mom. As soon as she saw it, she burst into tears and said, "I'm so sorry. I'm a horrible mother, aren't I?" She said she'd gotten jealous when she saw me sculpt. "I gave up my career for you, and you were so good. I got so upset. I'm so sorry." As angry and hurt as I was, I knew that Mom had given up a lot for me, so I hugged her and showed her my second gift, the old sculpting tools I'd found in the attic years ago. She cried as she held them. They were hers. Well, now the two of us often sculpt together in my studio, except we have a third edition, my little girl Maria.
The morning bell echoes through the halls, 1,000 voices bouncing off the walls. From the quiet corners of the library floor to the laughter leaking through the classroom door, we're walking hallways where the legends grew. But today the ink is fresh and the story's new.
Hi there! My name is Kathleen, and this is the story of how I ended up in a crazy marriage contest. Before we continue, please click like and subscribe. Do you have someone in your life who is just always one step ahead of you, and it's really annoying? Well, I do. My twin sister and my arch nemesis, Jessica. She had to one-up me on everything, even our birth. I was born 3 minutes earlier, loser! Height, hair, clothes. She wanted to beat me at it all. If I wanted to dress up as Ariel for Halloween, Jessica would steal the costume the night before. Then she would wear it right in front of me. "You stole my costume!" "Well, you stole my chance to be an only child." She was the worst. In the 7th grade, I waited for Valentine's Day to ask out this really cute guy in my class, Sam. As I was walking up to him at the bleachers to give him the card I'd made, I suddenly stopped in shock. He was busy staring at Jessica, who was standing on top of the cheerleading pyramid and holding up a banner that said, "You suck less than the rest, Sam. Be the bread to my jam." He ran up to her and they kissed. With furious tears, I ripped my card and stormed off. On our 18th birthday, Jessica crossed all her limits. I was so excited for my party, but when I came out, all the signs had changed. They no longer said happy birthday Jess and Kathy. They said, "Congratulations, Jessica." What? Jessica arrived in a glittering red gown. No one was even looking at me. "Jessica, what did you do to my party?" I'm valedictorian, I can speak 5 languages, and I'm traveling the world right after high school. I'm the better twin, so I get a party. Honestly, I was so angry because at that moment, I realized she really was better than me. 5 languages? Wow! I could only speak in my mother tongue. If I wanted to be the better twin, I had to be as brilliant as she was. But how? I was sitting alone, thinking and crying, when my friend Raj came up to me. He came to say goodbye because he was planning to return to his hometown in India. When I asked him why he was going back, he looked very sad. My family wants to arrange my marriage to some girl I don't even know. The moment Raj said the word marriage, I had an incredible idea. What if I married him and went to India? Then I could start traveling before Jessica. I could even learn their language. So I told Raj my idea. It would solve his problem of marrying a stranger, and I could finally become the better twin. Raj looked confused. But how will you explain all this to your parents? Not a problem. I don't have to tell them everything. I'll just say that I'm going to visit you in India. And that's how Raj became the first guy I married. I told my family I was going to travel to India with my friend, and Jessica literally burned with jealousy. Ha! I left home the day after and hopped on a plane with Raj. I was ready to start my international adventures. I married Raj in a traditional Indian dress, met his parents and relatives, and ate lots of amazing Indian food. I studied Hindi day and night. It was really hard to learn another script, but the result was so rewarding. When I could actually talk to the locals and hold my own in the city, I knew it was time to move on to a new destination. A few months after my marriage, I met the perfect person, Rodrigo. Rodrigo was a Mexican tourist in India, and I bumped into him in a supermarket one day. For him, it was love at first sight. Latin people must be very passionate because when I asked him to marry me in a week, he said yes. So I ended my marriage to Raj and went off to Mexico with my new husband, Rodrigo. I worked hard on learning Spanish, and it was way easier than Hindi. I could speak in fluent sentences in only 2 months. Rodrigo was such a caring and sweet person, and after 2 months of marriage, he took me to a romantic dinner and told me he loved me. He was so charming that I almost fell in love with him. But I had to keep my eyes on my objective: travel the world and learn more languages than Jessica. So I looked into his eyes and said, "Our marriage ends tonight." I think I broke his heart because he started bawling like a baby. Then he kicked me out of his home. Now I was all alone with no money in Mexico. I started walking aimlessly down the streets, feeling scared and guilty. I almost thought of giving up my crazy plan to travel the world and just go home. Just then, a guy walked up to me and asked me why I was crying. And that's how I met Pierre, my third husband. Pierre was from Paris, and he was for sure one of the most handsome guys I'd ever met. He was also really kind and offered me a warm meal and a place to stay. When he asked me what I was doing here, I decided to tell him the plain hard truth. I need to marry someone to travel with. Are you okay with that? At first, Pierre seemed taken aback by my idea, and then he shrugged. My mom is always complaining that I've never introduced her to a girlfriend, so why not? Let's do a marriage contract. The next stop was Paris, and what a wonderful city it was. As soon as I went to Pierre's home, though, I realized why his mom was worried about him not finding a girlfriend. Pierre was a video game nerd. I wanted to be out in the city of love, eating croissants and cheese, and he just wanted to play video games in his room. Our wedding was super lame. Pierre didn't have any friends and spent most of the party playing his stupid games. I didn't care. My plan was to study French with his mother. I became pretty fluent in 2 months. And then as planned, I divorced him. Soon after, I found a job in a bakery, and I loved it. One day, while I was serving a customer, a Chinese guy entered and asked if we could talk. He was so sweaty and nervous, and I wondered what he had to say to me. Pierre told me you marry people, right? Oh, yes, that's me, the girl who marries. The Chinese guy's name was Lang, and he needed a bride. He had a secret love story with another girl his parents didn't like, so he needed marriage as a cover for it. So that's how I flew to Shanghai and married my 4th husband. Lang was sweet, and his family was super happy that he was finally married. We lived in an apartment in downtown Shanghai where I had all the time to study and learn Mandarin. Everything was going perfectly till I opened Instagram one day and saw Jessica's update about traveling to her 6th country. Oh no! I needed to speed up. I asked Lang for help, who had an idea. I could find guys through wedding agencies and marry as many as I wanted for the honeymoons. That sounded perfect. The day Lang and I divorced, my mom called. She was worried because I'd been away from home for too long. I told her I was having the most incredible time of my life, and I hung up the phone because it was time to meet my next husband. My 5th husband's name was Ling Wei, and we had a fake wedding certificate because dealing with that many divorces started to be annoying. So we had our honeymoon in Thailand, and it was terrific. I think I had 4 different fake marriages in China, which gave me the opportunity to go on honeymoons to Indonesia, Japan, Australia, and Korea. Being with so many Chinese guys, I'd really perfected my Mandarin too. I was really moving forward, but slowly, I was getting tired of it. After my 9th marriage ended, I was emotionally exhausted. I needed some alone time in one place. So I shut myself in my apartment in Shanghai and refused to go out. I only opened the door to get my food deliveries and turned down all my phone calls. In the darkness of my room one day, I realized it was my 21st birthday. 3 years had passed since I left home, so I decided to call my mom and dad. When I finally explained why I'd left, they were really upset with me. "You're a terrible daughter, Kathleen. While you've been away having fun, we've been sick with worry. Don't come back now. Keep living your crazy life." That day, as I was eating my birthday cake alone, I realized how my actions had shaped my life. My parents hated me, and I'd married 9 guys but never found love once. At that moment, I received a phone call from Ling. "I know you're sad, but your 21st birthday is a big deal. We're going out, Kathleen." So, after a long time of being cooped up in my apartment, I put on some makeup and a cute outfit and went out. Ling took me to a lovely party on the roof of a skyscraper. We danced for hours and had a lot of fun. But when the DJ put on a romantic song, people started dancing in couples, and I felt alone again. I wanted to leave, but Ling stopped me. We started dancing, and I felt something I never felt before. Were there butterflies in my stomach? When the dance ended, I actually felt bad. I wanted to be near him again. I started hanging out with Ling more often. We had so much fun together, and slowly, my feelings had turned into a full-blown crush. But Ling had married me so he could date some other girl in peace. What about her? My doubts were cleared when one day, Ling and I were going home from dinner, and he kissed me. I asked him, "What about that girl you were with?" "Oh, it didn't work out with her. I was a little too busy falling for you." Oh my God! Ling was falling for me? I threw my arms around him and kissed him, my heart soaring. We started dating for real this time. He was my first real boyfriend. For a while, I'd really regretted my stupid competition with Jessica, but it had led me to Ling. Being with him gave me enough self-confidence and strength to do something that I was putting off for a long time. I was going to go back home. I promised to come to China soon, and he promised to come see me. "Ha! Okay, whoever makes it first. We will see each other soon." I was crying when I said goodbye to him and flew back home. When I met my parents and finally apologized, I thought they were going to get mad, but they ran to me, hugged me, and started weeping. "Oh, we're so happy you're okay. I'm so sorry about what I said. You're always welcome home, baby." I hugged them back and we cried buckets together. When Jessica showed up, she started mocking me right away. Is the little loser back? Are you crying because you finally accepted I'm better than you?" Her jokes had 0 impact on me. "I'm not competing with you anymore, Jessica. You're not worth it. No one is." From that day on, I focused on living my life the way I wanted to. Ling joined me at home a few months later, and my parents just loved him. We got married at an adorable ceremony, and even my past husbands attended. Jessica was super jealous of me that day too. "What is this? Husband number 10 for you?" "Maybe, but he's definitely the last one." I kissed Ling right on the lips, ready to start the rest of our lives together.
Hi, my name is Irene, and today I'm going to tell you the crazy story of how I lose control of myself and turn into these exciting characters from the movies I see. Unbelievable, right? When I was 3, my parents first took me to see the movie Tarzan. It was amazing, but soon after we got home, I started howling and beating my chest, just like Tarzan. And then I literally swung from the curtains and pillars, crashing into everything that came in my way. Mom couldn't stop laughing, but Dad got super furious.
What has gotten into this child? This is not funny. Stop her, now.
But that wasn't the end of it. One evening, after we all watched the movie Child's Play on TV, I suddenly got up in the middle of the night and walked to Dad's bedside with googly eyes and a pencil in my hand.
"Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?"
Dad screamed like a little girl and dived under the bed.
"This child is possessed. Take her away from me. She's evil."
Mom calmed me down quickly, but Dad always stayed away from me after that. Then one day, Mom and I came home to find a note from him.
I can't sleep with that devil child in the house. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
And, well, we never saw him again. But unlike Dad, Mom loved me a lot, and life was better with him gone. I also loved going to school and had plenty of friends. That is, until the day everyone found out about my weird quirk. One day in the 6th grade, soon after I'd watched the Lord of the Rings movies at home, a teacher dropped her gold ring on the floor. As I saw it sparkling in the light, I suddenly transformed into Gollum. As I leapt forward to pick up the ring, she got to it first and I went ballistic.
The filthy little thieves! Where is it? They stole it from us. My precious. Curse them. We hates them. It's ours. It is. And we wants it.
And with that, I attacked my teacher. She shrieked as other kids tried to hold me back, and someone called the principal. I almost got expelled, but Mom was called in and she explained my condition. She decided I wasn't watching any movies for a very long time. But the news had already spread like wildfire in school, and everyone started calling me different names. Clown, loser, psycho, and many, many more. And the school queen bee, Olive, was the meanest of them all.
Hold on, psycho. What are you going to turn into today?
Hola, Harry Potterus. Can you fly using the janitor's broom? Cut it out, Olive. Oh, I'm scared. Are you going to turn me into a goblet with your magic? I could smack her with a broom for sure, but I didn't want to upset Mom by causing more trouble, so I kept a low profile, even though the bullying never stopped. In the 9th grade, I decided to join the drama club at school. One afternoon, I was rehearsing alone before auditions for the school play when a handsome guy walked into the drama room.
Hi, my name is Drake, and I'm here for the drama auditions. Am I in the right place?
Oh, yes, you're in the right place at the right time. But before I could say a word, the Wicked Witch entered the room. Oh, there you are, Drake. Are you here for the role of the prince? Take it from me, babe. That role is made for you, and I'm meant to be your princess. But when everyone saw my acting skills, I got the lead role. Olive got selected for the maid's part, and Drake became my prince. I was loving all the attention I was getting from him, but it was clearly driving Olive crazy. How dare you flirt with Drake? He's mine. Really? I didn't see the owner's name tag on him. Oh, look who finally found her tongue. But hear me loud and clear, freak. You can be his princess in a play, but I'm still his queen in real life. Stay away from Drake or else. Bring it on. Well, she did. During breaks at rehearsals, she was all over him, touching his arm and laughing a little too hard at his jokes. But I wasn't going to just sit back and watch. The next day during costume trials, I walked in wearing a Catwoman costume, and Drake's jaw dropped when he saw me.
OMG. Irene, you look meow. How about you curl me closer with that tail of yours?
I gave him a wink and sat close to him as Olive turned red with anger and stormed out of the room. But then the next day, that witch came dressed up as Wonder Woman in a costume literally the size of a hanky. Her tactics didn't work though, because one day at rehearsals, Drake asked me out in front of everyone. Of course, I said yes. As I was changing in the dressing room the next day, I nearly jumped out of my skin when I looked up and saw Olive's reflection in the mirror. She was holding up my costume that she'd ripped to shreds. OMG, Olive, you're such a psycho. You just wait and see what I do, Irene. I'm not gonna let a freak like you take away my dream boy. Ugh, she was insane. I pushed her aside and stormed out of the room, wondering what drama would come my way next. I didn't have to wait too long to find out, but it wasn't exactly what I'd expected. It was Drake's birthday on the weekend, and he'd invited half the school to his party. As soon as I arrived there, suddenly the music from the Twilight movie started to play on the speakers. As everyone looked around in surprise, I spotted Drake in the moonlight, and he looked just like Edward Cullen. Hello, Edward. Happy birthday. How old are you now? 104?
Who's Edward? What are you talking about?
Come on, Edward. I know you're a vampire. Your Bella is here. You can drink blood from my veins, and then we can live together for all eternity, my love. All the kids around us started laughing, while Drake just stared at me in shock. and then abruptly ran inside the house. Just then the music ended, and I realized the scene I'd made. And I'd scared Drake. That was just epic to watch. You acted even weirder than I hoped you would when I played the music. Now Drake's never gonna want to be with you. Freak. She was such a jerk. I started looking for Drake in the house to explain everything to him. Suddenly, I screamed when someone hugged me from behind. Drake, you scared me.
Hi, babe. I just came in to get something for you. I didn't know when was the right time to show you, but I think it's now.
Why was he being so strange? He was acting like nothing had happened a few minutes ago. But when I saw the thing he gave me, I was shocked. It was a photo album with hundreds of pictures of me. He clicked me going to the washroom, smelling my underarms, and picking my nose. What's wrong with you? Why did you take all these pictures?
Because I fell in love with you at first sight, Irene. And after you wore that Catwoman costume, my God, I just can't get you out of my head. Now that I know you think our love is like Edward and Bella's, I wanted to show you that I'm equally obsessed with us.
OMG, you're insane. Leave me alone. I don't want to be with you or even see you. And don't you dare follow me. I ran out of there as fast as I could. I couldn't believe I was dating a crazy psycho. The next day at school, I tried to hide from him, but he was following me around everywhere like a mad puppy. I hid out in the girls' bathroom for a while, but when I finally came out, I almost tripped over a body on the floor. It was Drake writhing around like he was in pain.
It hurts. It hurts so bad.
What hurts? Is it your tummy? Your appendix?
No, baby girl. It's my heart. Quit playing games and say you love me too.
Oh, shut up. You need therapy. I almost kicked him while shaking his hands off my ankle, and I ran away while everyone around us laughed hysterically. Olive called out to me. Wow, girl, he's as crazy as you. He's all yours. Geez, if he kept this up, I was going to need a restraining order. Later that night, as I was sleeping peacefully in my bed, I heard a faint creaking noise, and I turned around and screamed. Drake was standing by my bed. Are you freaking crazy? How do you even know where I live? Never mind, don't answer that. Just get out.
Babe, just give me a chance. I have an amazing gift for you.
And with that, he started unbuttoning his shirt. Hey, don't! Ew, stop that!
Relax, you're gonna love this.
He took out an invitation card tucked inside his shirt. Oh, thank God.
I know how crazy you are about acting, princess. And you know I would bring the world to your feet. Please, accept this invitation to a party on a cruise ship with Hollywood stars.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yes, babe. As serious as my love for you. I want you to go with me to the party.
But how'd you get those passes?
Oh, I just stole them from my uncle's table when he wasn't looking. He knows many people in Hollywood.
Okay, he was still a crazy psycho, but I couldn't miss this awesome opportunity, right? Meeting Hollywood celebrities would be like a wild dream come true. And Drake wasn't lying one bit. When we got onto the ship, I could feel my heart beating like crazy. I was at a party full of actors and directors I practically worshipped. Just then, I spotted the world-famous director, freaking James Cameron himself, right at the front of the ship. Here was my chance to get discovered. I turned to Drake. How much do you love me?
Oh, as much as the depths of the sea, and the width of the sky, and the height of the...
Okay, I get it. You love me. You'll do anything for me, right?
Anything, babe.
We ran across the deck to the edge of the ship. I climbed onto the front railing with Drake right behind me, supporting me as I stretched my arms out just like in Titanic. Look, Jack, I'm flying. I'm flying, Jack.
I'm the king of the world. Woohoo!
Not now. Just shut up and kiss me, moron. As we kissed at the edge of the ship at sunset, lots of people around us started to cheer and clap. Even though it was Drake I was kissing, I had to admit it was a super romantic, movie-like moment. Just then he whispered in my ear,
Rose?
Yeah?
I think I'm gonna be seasick.
I jumped onto the deck just in time as he hurled into the sea. Gross! The director I'd put on the show for walked up to me and smiled.
I see you have a flair for acting. You really get into character, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir. More than you can imagine.
I like your enthusiasm. Here, take my card. Let's get you an audition.
I couldn't believe my luck. This was truly amazing. And the next thing I knew, I'd been offered a role in a movie, and my life was flipped upside down. I left the city for good and moved to LA with my mom. Fast forward 10 years, I'm a successful actor in Hollywood and have fans all over the world. I still act out sometimes in the most embarrassing situations, but people just think I'm in character now for some movie role.
I stared down at the box of crayons. Why did these kids keep tearing the wrappers off? I couldn't read the names now. Hey, Dumbo, why's your grass purple? Are you an alien from planet Stupid? It's purple because I've got an imagination. As I stormed off to the teacher to ask for a new box of crayons, I suddenly fell face forward. I tripped over a skipping rope I hadn't seen. Hi, I'm Anna. And no, my grass is actually purple because I'm colorblind. Before I continue, click on like and subscribe. Otherwise, you'll stop seeing your favorite color. Things weren't too bad when I was little, but my condition really started affecting my life in high school. See, imagine your mom's not dressing you anymore and you want to look good, but if you're colorblind, you can end up doing some really embarrassing stuff. I went to school one day wearing what I thought was a very cute blue shirt, but Alexa, the class bully, screamed that I looked like a toad in the ugly green shirt. The other day, I ended up wearing mismatched stockings, and while everyone was busy laughing, I said it was a bold-fashioned choice. So I usually just ended up sticking to black and white, which is cool if you're like 50. One day, as soon as I walked into school, one of the guys shouted, "Oh my God, are you okay? Your eyes are bleeding." What? I didn't feel anything. Yeah, really funny. Ha ha, weirdo. But apparently, it wasn't a joke because pretty soon, a crowd had huddled around me, looking closely at my eyes. Ha! She's not bleeding, she's just blind. What do you do when you're blind? You put red lip liner on your eyes and black on your lips. Oh my God. Had I really? As I tried to get out of there to wash my face, Alexa and her rat pack just pushed me back and started taking pictures. Just then, someone pushed their way through, and I turned to see the school's football captain and the most handsome guy on the planet, Kevin. Hey, cut it out! You guys are the worst! Then he suddenly pulled me away from Alexa and her minions and took me to a quiet corner. What he did next left me speechless. He took out some tissue paper and wiped my tears. And of course, the horrendous lip liner too. Hope you're okay. You know why they act that way, right? They're jealous because you're so beautiful. I gasped. Had Kevin just called me beautiful? But before I could even wrap my head around it, he was gone. The next day at lunch, I was sitting by myself, as usual. I could see the guys in class were always looking over at me, but while Alexa and her gang were around, they wouldn't dare to come and sit next to me. The cowards. But just then, Kevin came by and asked if he could join me. And before I knew what was happening, the two of us were hanging out all the time. He was pretty popular and always had a bunch of friends around, but he never made me feel left out. Of course, this didn't sit well with Alexa. She was part of the cheerleading squad, so she would always be there at every practice match, and she just wouldn't stop flirting with him. Hey! Can't wait for the out-of-town game next week. An overnight trip will be so fun. Why don't you come to my room after the game? We'll definitely be having a party. Kevin nodded and she smirked at me and walked away. I felt furious. She's really pretty, isn't she? I think she's into me. Maybe I should ask her out. I felt my heart sink right down to my toes. Yeah, whatever, if you want to. Just as I was about to walk away, he grabbed my hand. Or I could ask you out, 'cause you're way prettier, and you have my heart. Someone bring me back to planet Earth! I was over the moon! I was dating Dream Boy Kevin! One day, while we were strolling through the park, I said to Kevin that it was pretty cool we were both from African-American families. He started laughing. Anna, what are you talking about? I'm black. You're totally white. This was news to me. I was pretty sure he was pulling my leg. When I went home that day, I walked straight into one of Mom and Dad's screaming matches. Dad could never hold a job and was always getting into trouble. Hey, guys, cut it out for a sec. Tell me something. Are we black or white? Mom and Dad both stared at me blankly for a second. Dad said, "Why don't you answer her stupid questions and leave me alone?" Mom said, "Of course we're white, Anna. And no, I'm not done with you. Your dad has really crossed the line. He stole money from my own aunt, and everyone in the family knows." Jeez, he'd really done it this time. I don't know how Mom puts up with him. I just couldn't be around them, so I grabbed my keys and rushed out of the house. As I turned around, I saw a red signal and rushed past it. Blaring in the distance was a truck. It kept flicking its lights, and I pushed on the brakes as hard as I could. Oh no! As I slowly opened my eyes, I saw the two of them arguing again. My dad said, "Why do you even let her drive? Now I'll have to pay this ridiculous hospital bill. Why don't you go steal some more money?" Then I said, "Orange? What?" Mom asked. "I'm problem cat pink." "Oh God, and now she's blabbering," my dad said. Why couldn't I speak properly? What was happening? The doctor explained that because I'd had some head trauma, I was having difficulty putting words together. But I just had to keep trying, and it would be fine. The doctor said it's minor, but I lobster SpongeBob so much. Give us some time, dear. You'll be fine, Mom said. The day I got home from the hospital, Kevin came over to see me. So, you know how much I love you, right? Well, I want to show you how serious I am about you. I want you to meet my parents. What? Meet Kevin's parents? That's the kind of seriousness every girl is looking for. Oh, Moon, go! Ink so hope. What? Kevin asked. I took out my notebook and wrote. The doctor said I won't be able to put words together properly for some time, and it's worse when I'm excited or anxious. Maybe we should do this later? You'll be fine when you're with me. Don't worry, Kevin assured me. Kevin's smile made all the difference in the world. I was still anxious, though, because there were his parents. And from what he told me, they seemed a little hoity-toity. The next day at their house, I was so nervous. Hello, lovely house. I was trying to be as respectful as possible to his parents while keeping my sentences really short. But then I tried complimenting the food, and I wished I'd kept my mouth shut. Wow, the good food dog, eggplant, the Scrabble. Wait, no, the stapler, stone, jello. I mean, no. Oh, dear God. Then Kevin saved me and said, You mean you really like the food? Well, thanks, Anna. That's very sweet of you. I just smiled meekly at his parents. No amount of covering up from Kevin was going to make them like me now, and I was right. This is the only girl you could find. She's crazy. This is exactly why we want you to meet Sabrina. She's your dad's business partner's daughter, and she is extremely well behaved. I could hear Kevin's mom's voice from the kitchen. But, well, there was nothing I could do about it. Over the next week, I noticed my sentences were improving, but Kevin wasn't around for me to tell him. He had the flu, so he wanted to stay in. Or so I thought. One day, I got a text from him that left me completely shook. Dear Anna, as much as I adore you, I have to end this relationship. My parents really want me to date Sabrina, and they won't have it any other way. Please forgive me. I hope we can still be friends. What? Was this for real? The guy who claimed to love me was leaving me because I wasn't good enough for his parents? I felt beyond furious and blocked his number. He didn't even have the decency to say all this to my face, and he thought we could be friends? I spent the whole weekend crying over sad movies with tubs of ice cream. I didn't want to go to school and ever see him again. The next day, while I was putting stuff in my locker, that jerk walked up to me. Hey, I've been trying to get in touch. I slammed the locker door and turned away. I don't want to hear it, Kevin. Leave me alone. And here I was at lunch again, back to sitting by myself. And I got a C on my math test because I hadn't studied at all. Suddenly, someone snatched the test paper out of my hands. Not so smart now, are we? What's it like being stupid and blind? Alexa, have you ever gotten an A in anything? I'll take that, thanks. Colin, this guy from my class, snatched the paper out of a furious Alexa's hand and came and sat next to me. He'd never spoken to me before. Hey, you ever need help with math, let me know. I'd be happy to tutor you, Colin said. I was just about to say no thanks when I saw Kevin looking over at us from the corner of my eye. I was hurt and angry, and I wanted him to eat his heart out right now. Yeah, I think I could really use the help. Say we meet here every day during recess? The next few days, I started hanging out with Colin all the time. We went to the school's football game, and I saw Kevin look at us as we walked up to the bleachers. I immediately took Colin's hand and smiled at him. One evening, Colin came to my place to work on a school project. As we laughed and worked together, I couldn't help thinking he was really cute. When he was leaving, I walked him out, and he turned to me on the porch. Hey, it's been a week since we started hanging out, but it feels like I've known you a really long time. Then he took my hand and pulled me close. Uh-oh. What was happening? I don't know if you know this, but you've got the most gorgeous green eyes. What a smooth talker. As he was leaning in to kiss me, I moved closer too. And, Anna, what are you doing here? I demanded. I felt so angry looking at Kevin. I'm so sorry, Anna. I know why you're mad and I can explain. And what's this loser doing here? Kevin asked. He is not a loser. He really cares about me, unlike you. I could feel Colin getting all worked up beside me. Kevin said, just listen, okay? I overheard my parents today talking about how they texted you from my phone. It wasn't me, Anna. I would never do that. For a minute, I was speechless. My heart was just melting looking at his face. But then there was Colin, still holding on to me. Colin said, You know we have something special, Anna. Are you really going to choose him over me? I said, No, but it really wasn't his fault either, you know? This is so confusing. Kevin said, I'm willing to show you how much you mean to me. Maybe this guy can do the same, if he's up for it. Oh, I'm up for it. There's no way she's choosing the guy who didn't even check why she left him. I wasn't sure how I felt about that, but, well, then let the dating games begin. As I was getting ready the next evening, I was pretty surprised that the dress Colin had sent me looked like Cinderella's. But then he turned up in an actual carriage, looking like Prince Charming. I felt like I was in a fairy tale. After you, my lady, Colin said. This place is beautiful, Colin. Oh, look! Everyone here is dressed up as a character, I said. Yes, but none of them look as beautiful as you. Colin was such a sweetheart. I had the most amazing night at this club, dancing away my worries. These are for you, my lady, Colin said. Colin was giving me yellow roses? You want to friend zone me after this amazing night? No, cutie, they're red. You're just seeing them as yellow. Friend zone you? I could never. It was Kevin's turn next, and he turned up in a limo and whisked me away to my favorite boy band's concert. And we had front row tickets and backstage passes. As I got selfies with the band, I couldn't believe he had done this for me. My life had turned upside down in a week. The next few days were just a whirlwind of candlelit dinners, romantic moonlit walks, picnics in the park, and boat rides on the lake. And I was being showered with the most amazing gifts every day. If I kept eating chocolate truffles at this rate, I wouldn't be able to fit in any of the pretty dresses I was getting. I was getting more and more confused, too. Both the boys were so sweet, and they really seemed to care about me. How was I ever gonna decide? Eventually, it was my birthday, and I got a text from Kevin at midnight sharp. Happy birthday to the love of my life. Just then, I heard someone throw a pebble at my window. It was Colin. I couldn't wait till tomorrow to give you your present. Happy birthday, sweetheart, Colin said. I gasped when I saw the Apple Watch. I've been trying to make my parents get this for me since forever. How did you know I wanted this? I asked. I'm pretty sure you told me, babe. To my disappointment, Kevin didn't even come and see me the next morning. Of course, Colin was more than happy to have me all to himself on my birthday. We had a great time at the movies, and later, he cooked me dinner at his place. Looking at his face in the moonlight, my heart melted a little. Maybe he was the better guy. He left the table to get dessert, and suddenly his phone beeped. I just happened to glance at it, and suddenly my gaze froze. Why did he have a text from my dad? I opened it, and it said, "Told you she'll love the present. Make sure she makes up her mind about you before that boy is back." Colin came back and stopped short when he saw his phone in my hand. What's all this, Colin? I asked angrily. He slowly sat down and wouldn't even look at me, as he said he had to tell me something. Your dad has been paying me to keep you distracted from any thoughts of Kevin. What I didn't know was that I would actually fall in love with you. I'm so sorry, but please know my feelings for you are real. I was shocked and speechless. I felt disgusted by Dad, and I couldn't believe Colin had agreed to trick me like that. I just threw my napkin down and left. As soon as I got back home, I went straight to the lounge where my parents were watching TV. I said, "Mom, you know what this guy did? He paid Colin to play with my feelings and keep my mind off of Kevin." I started crying as I told Mom the whole story. I had never seen her this furious. Mom screamed at Dad. "Why would you do such a thing?" "Oh, geez. Don't make such a big deal of it. I only did it because Kevin's parents were paying me to keep her away from their son. I knew she would never listen to me if I talked to her, so I thought Colin would be a good distraction. What's the problem? I picked a nice guy for her, and I could use the money to pay off our debts." Mom got up and said, "Not our debts, your debts. Even this house is mine because I pay for the rent. I've had enough. Get out, now." Finally, go Mom! Dad was furious and left. I felt completely betrayed by Colin, and Kevin had just disappeared. I was done with these stupid boys playing with my feelings. I spent the next few days sulking in my room and watching videos on my story animated. I came across one where the girl's dad had been paying her boyfriend to spy on her for years. Well, that was believable. Kevin showed up the next morning. I told him I was done with everyone. He said he'd had to go somewhere urgently, and he couldn't get a flight out sooner because of bad weather. I said, "What's so urgent? You had to go to Rome to eat pizza? Your private jet wasn't available?" Kevin said, "Listen, let me make it up to you. Just give me one chance. That's all I'm asking." Reluctantly, I agreed. He blindfolded me and drove me somewhere, refusing to tell me anything. He helped me out of the car, and I could feel the sea breeze on my face. "Kevin, what's the big secret? I've seen the sea a billion times." "Not like this. Just don't open your eyes till I tell you." The blindfold came off, and I felt him placing glasses on my nose. "Now." I opened my eyes, and I gasped. I was seeing colors properly for the first time. I didn't know the sea was that shade of blue. I couldn't get over the sky. And the trees, the sand? Kevin was laughing and recording my reaction. I started crying. I'd been living in a faded world, and it was so much more beautiful and brighter than I could have ever thought possible. Kevin wrapped me in one of his bear hugs. God, I miss these hugs. He said he'd flown over to a place in Europe where a company was making these glasses. They were still in the testing phase, but he wanted to give me the perfect gift. It was at that moment that I knew it was always Kevin, and for the first time, I could really see how beautiful and deep his green eyes were. "Kiss me, Kevin. I want you to kiss me." We shared the most magical kiss, and I had fireworks going off in my head of every color.
Hi, I'm Elena, and I got stuck in a parking lot with my crush. Sounds juicy, right? It definitely was. It was the summer after 10th grade, and my very best friend Rachel and I were learning to drive. but she said that she had a great idea. As much as I loved Rach, the very idea of her great ideas horrified me. But before I could try to talk her out of whatever it was, she pulled into the dump. The dump is haunted, was all I managed to choke out. But Rachel just laughed and said, I've got a great idea for TikTok. We'll be in and out before you know it. I sighed. I just started recording Rachel when I heard a loud rustle. Felt like someone was watching us. I looked around nervously, but Rachel kept demanding my attention. Suddenly, there was a loud crash through the entire building, and I screamed. Then I heard footsteps, loud, echoing footsteps, coming closer. Stephen? Standing just behind me was the man of my dreams. As I stumbled away from him, he put his arm around my waist to stop me from falling. Whoa, easy there, he said softly. My heart went wild. Did Stephen just touch me? Stephen had been my crush for forever. He told us he'd seen her car parked outside and wanted to check if she was okay. What an absolute sweetheart. She laughed and said our car had broken down. What? She winked at me. What was she doing? Then, Stephen turned his glorious eyes to me. Who's your friend? He asked. My heart broke at his words. He didn't even recognize me. She's Elena, you idiot. She goes to our school. She's in our grade. Don't tell me you've never seen her. Rachel laughed, and I just wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Stephen looked a bit embarrassed and smiled at me. He asked if we were done with the TikTok. I'll drop you guys at home and have someone come for the car, he offered, like the gentleman he was. Rachel was thrilled. Clearly, she'd hoped he'd ask. We started towards his car when suddenly Rachel remembered she'd forgotten her wallet in the car. I'll catch up with you, she said, and sprinted away before I could say anything. With butterflies in my stomach, I walked beside him toward the parking lot, which was below the mall. I shivered as we went below. It truly felt like a scene out of a horror movie, but I felt safe with Stephen. There was a buzzing throughout the entire parking lot, and then there was a loud crash. We dropped to the ground, afraid that it was an earthquake, but I quickly realized what it was. I ran upstairs to try and leave, but the door was closed and locked. We were trapped. I banged on the door as loud as I could, but I knew that it was no use. There was nobody to hear our screams for help. I checked my phone. Of course, there was no signal either. Stephen checked his phone too. I can't call anyone. What are we going to do now? I asked. Now that the door was closed, it was even darker. If I didn't know any better, I would think the shadows in the corners were alive and coming for us. It's going to be okay, Stephen said soothingly. Then he did something unexpected. He took my hand and led me away from the door. Let's look for an escape. We started exploring. My heart hammered wildly, and electricity seemed to run up my arm from the hand he was holding. Yes, I was stuck in an awful place, but I was holding Stephen's hand. We looked for a way out, our hands clasped together the whole time. I wanted this moment to last forever, but then I saw a narrow ledge next to a window a few feet above us. If we climb to that, we can yell for help, I said. Stephen wasn't sure, but we managed to pull ourselves up. There was an alley running just behind the mall, but it was too risky to jump. That's when I noticed a man sleeping next to the dumpster. He looked homeless. He had a thick beard and his clothes were torn. Hey, you! I yelled as loudly as I could. The man woke up, but he seemed very angry and started cursing. We're stuck up here. Can you please call somebody for help? I said when he saw us. The homeless man said, Give me some money and I'll let you out. What a selfish jerk. I didn't have any money, so I turned to Stephen. He shook his head. No money, no help, the homeless guy said and walked off. I wanted to cry in frustration. Suddenly, the stool I was standing on shook, and my left foot slipped, making me fall off. I screamed. I fell into Stephen's arms, and he didn't let me go. When I looked up, his eyes stared into mine. He looked so strong and handsome. We stayed like that for a moment, and I almost thought he would kiss me. I wanted him to kiss me so bad, but the moment was interrupted by a loud horn. I looked at him in horror, but he looked like he hadn't even heard it. Was my imagination playing tricks on me? I looked around, shivering slightly in the cold. The place was getting really scary, and I couldn't wait to get out. I had the feeling of being watched again. To distract me, Stephen offered to play some songs on his phone. I recognized the first one right away. It was one of my favorite singers. Just then, the music turned to static, and scary voices came out. That's weird, Stephen said, frowning at his phone. I clutched his arm tighter, terrified. Stephen told me to stay where I was, while he went to look for his car. We would be safer inside it, he assured me. I wanted to go with him, but my ankle hurt from falling. After he left, I sat on the floor when I noticed a shadow move. I froze. Then, all of a sudden, a huge black figure raced toward me. I turned around to run but fell flat on my face. Panic welled up and I started to scream and cry. "No, please," I begged out. What I heard next was the sound that terrified me worse than any ghost ever could. I heard loud laughter. I opened my eyes and saw that it was Rachel. She was clutching her stomach and had tears rolling down her cheeks. She was laughing so hard. Steven stood next to her. He wasn't smiling, but of course, he'd been in on the joke the whole time. Worst of all, I saw one of Rachel's hands was in Steven's pocket, and she was holding a video recorder in the other hand. "Rachel, why would you do something like this?" I cried. I couldn't believe it. "You're such a loser for even falling for this," she said. I started to cry harder. I couldn't help myself. My best friend had betrayed me, and she seemed to be enjoying my misery. "Why did you do it?" I asked. "Don't take it personally," she said, rolling her eyes. "You were just easy bait because you're such a scaredy cat." I ran out of the parking lot in tears and called my older sister to come pick me up. There was no way I was going anywhere with those two. Before the day was out, the video was already on TikTok. By the next day, it had gone viral, and I was the school's laughing stock. While this was happening to me, Steven avoided me like the plague. At least he looked guilty, but it was Rachel who truly hurt me. She pretended as if I didn't exist. So much for childhood best friends. When the sadness and shock faded, I was angry. So angry. I wanted revenge. I had done nothing to them, and they treated me like dirt. To top it all off, Rachel and Steven were getting closer. They'd even started dating. This was something she'd done before. Whenever I had a crush on a guy, she would also start liking him, date him, and then dump him after a few weeks. This time, I decided enough was enough. I was going to take Steven away from her, and I knew how to do it. I made an Instagram account and hired a professional to take some pictures of me where my face wasn't visible. I wanted to make myself seem mysterious, and my plan began to work. Once my account took off, I followed Steven. After a week of suspense, he followed me back. I slid into his DMs. I flirted with him, and at first, he didn't flirt back. But over the next few days, we texted each other all the time. And I began to think he liked me. Back in school, I was still a big joke, and Rachel encouraged the meanness. I couldn't understand why she hated me so much all of a sudden. I tried to find comfort in the fact that I was going to have my revenge soon. Steven texted me without fail every day, and soon enough, I realized he had feelings for me. He had told me literally everything about himself. The only problem was that I was afraid I would fall for him again. He was such a sweetheart. My heart fluttered every time he messaged. But this was revenge. No mercy. Then I decided it was time to test my power. When he was sitting with the other jocks and Rachel, I texted him asking him to meet me outside. He immediately left the table without telling Rachel or the others anything. I laughed for the first time in days. Revenge was mine. 2 days before the homecoming dance, the time I had set for completing my revenge, I was cleaning my locker when I saw Steven. The hall was empty. I ignored him, but to my surprise, he walked up to me to talk. "Hi, Elena," he said shyly. I had no intention of talking to him and walked away. That night, Mom peeked into my room and said, "There's someone here to meet you." But when I went to the door, there was nobody there, just a small note on the doormat next to a big, beautiful sunflower. It said, "I'm sorry, Elena, for everything that happened. I know it's no excuse, but I had no idea that things would go this far. I wish I had known you before. I know you will never forgive me now." Even though it wasn't signed, I knew immediately that Steven was the one who'd sent it. But why was he apologizing to me after all these months? My heart melted. I was pretty sure Rachel was the one who had convinced him to prank me. I could forgive him. The day before homecoming, I texted him from the anonymous account and confessed to liking him. He said he liked me too. I told him that if it was true, he would have to break up with his girlfriend and take me to the dance instead. He agreed immediately. It'd be so great when he saw I was behind the account and that I'd forgiven him, I thought to myself. I was finally going to date him and Rachel would get what she deserved. It was the day before the homecoming dance. Today, all of my plans would come into play. First, I rushed to school and waited for the cheerleading practice to start. While Rachel was practicing, I emptied the shampoo bottle she carried and filled it with instant blue hair dye. If anyone was super proud of their blonde hair, it was Rachel, and that was only the first thing she'd lose today. I waited outside the locker rooms. Soon enough, I heard a scream and lots of muffled laughter. I walked away to work on phase 2. I went to the biology lab and released all the frogs and cockroaches. Then I rushed out. I went to Mrs. Hawkins, the lab instructor, cried, and told her Rachel had been waiting for me in the lab. But when I got there, all the frogs and cockroaches were all over the place. She jumped up and rushed to the lab. I heard her cursing. Then she went straight to the principal's office. 10 minutes later, they called Rachel. I hung around the office till I saw her. Her hair looked a horrible shade of blue, and it was so patchy I almost felt sorry for her. Some of the dye had stained her face, too. People were laughing at her. When she saw me, she glared at me and went inside the office. Then I heard yelling and crying. 10 minutes later, Rachel rushed out crying. "You did this!" she yelled. She had been banned from the dance. Finally, it was lunchtime, time for the icing on the cake. As Rachel sat complaining and crying, Stephen got up and tried to leave. Obviously, Rachel tried to throw a huge tantrum, but he just shook her off and loudly said, "We're over." Everyone heard. The next day was the homecoming dance, and Stephen messaged that he had a huge game before it. He said scouts from huge colleges would be there. I told Stephen that even though I wouldn't be able to come to see his game, I was definitely cheering for him. My plan was, he wouldn't see who I really was until the dance. On my way to the game, I saw 2 of the football players who were really close friends with Stephen. They were talking about Rachel and Stephen. I got closer to hear. "Damn shame that he broke up with Rachel like that," one of them said. "I'm not really surprised. Remember what he did to that freak Elena? His idea for that prank video was genius. He's planning to try out another epic idea on her." He what? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was Stephen's idea all along, and he was planning to prank me again? I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. He had almost tricked me again. Just then, my phone buzzed with Stephen's text. "Can't wait to see you." I texted him a location and asked him to meet me there. I deleted my Instagram account as I walked out of the locker room. I knew exactly how I would come clean to Stephen. I rushed home and grabbed a few cameras and my Wi-Fi device. On the way, I made a quick stop to the toy store. Then I rushed over to where it had all started, the dump. It was evening and the place looked as haunted as ever. But today, I wasn't scared at all. Before he got there, I fitted the cameras in the garage and connected them to my phone. Finally, he walked in, calling me to come out. As soon as he walked in the door, it crashed and locked behind him. On my phone, I heard him laughing. "You naughty girl," he said, looking around for me. I hit play and a recording began playing in the garage. I told Stephen who I was, and suddenly I noticed his expression change. He got angry and started yelling for me to let him out. My recording kept playing. "Guess who you shouldn't have told about your fear of spiders?" it went on. Suddenly, Stephen stopped yelling. By now, Stephen was begging, but it was too late. I released the toy spiders. I'd gotten the biggest, hairiest ones I could find. I heard him screaming, begging, and apologizing to me. The spiders crawled towards him. I waited for him to realize before I pressed the button that would live stream everything to the big screen that had been set up for the big game tonight. That should make it easier for them to find him. I heard his scream as I started my car and drove away.
Hi, I'm Jane, and I'm from New York City. And this is my story of how being short, like really short, leads me to have a unique, crazy life. So, I had a really crazy mother who was mad about shopping. Shoes, clothes, makeup, perfumes. She stopped at nothing. One day, when I was 2 years old, she left me at the mall because her hands were full of bags.
Where's Jane?
What?
You took Jane with you while shopping, right? Where is she?
Oh, my hands were full of bags. I might have just left her at the mall. Plus, she's too tiny and short for her age, so it's easy to forget her. Short and ugly. I wonder who she looks like. My dad was furious.
I already knew your shopping was a problem, but this is the last straw!
So he took me and left Mom for good. For a while, Dad and I lived happily in a small apartment. But when I was 8, Dad discovered that he didn't have much time to live, so he decided to leave me with his first wife. He took me to her huge mansion, hugged me really tightly, and left, and I never saw Dad again. Dad's first wife didn't have any children of her own. She was always dressed in black and never smiled. She looked just like a creepy widow, so I started calling her the widow. But there was no denying that the widow was rich. Practically everything in her house was made of gold, even the spoons. On the first day of my new school, the widow sent me off to school in a limo. And at school, the widow had the butler distribute free ice cream for a month, so everyone would be nice to me. At first, it was crazy fun, but on my 10th birthday, even though I was surrounded by friends, I broke down into tears. I missed my parents so much. And then I noticed that no one brought any gifts for me. When I asked them why, some boy yelled, "Because we don't like you, you dwarf, and your breath smells bad." Suddenly, the widow showed up from behind him and put her hand on his mouth and dragged him away. What was going on? So, everyone in school liked me only because of the widow's money? One day, when my so-called best friend announced,
Hey girls, let's go get some ice cream. Jane's buying.
I lost my cool. No, I'm not. You want it? Go get it yourself. I'm not your debit card.
Look at this dwarf being so mean. It's not even your money, Jane. You're a charity case.
They all angrily marched away, and after that, I was a loner. Not only that, it was really annoying that I never got picked during gym class, and I really wanted to play basketball. So one day, in 6th grade, I ran straight onto the court, snatched the ball from another kid, and started dribbling it away. I was small, but fast. Just then, the substitute gym teacher came running onto the court, blowing his whistle furiously. And next thing I knew, he had picked me up and was carrying me away. "We have a kindergartner on the loose. Don't you know you could seriously get hurt, kid?" He just wouldn't listen and took me to the principal. He sure looked dumb when the principal told him I was in the 6th grade. But I was still banned from playing. It was too dangerous for me. One day, when I was in 9th grade, right before my exam was about to start, my teacher came up to me and put her hand on my forehead. "Jane, dear, your mom said you aren't feeling well today. You can go home and rest." "But I'm not sick." "Yes, you are, sweetie. You have a horrible fever." And the teacher just dragged me out of the room. After the exams, when I looked at my report card, I was shocked. I got an A+ on an exam I didn't even write, and all the rest as well. The widow then threw a fancy party where she literally distributed money. Worst of all, the party was full of my teachers. Ugh, talk about boring. The only person at the party my age was Andrew from school, the son of one of the teachers. I always had a crush on him, and now he was making his way to me. My heart began to beat like crazy. I do, Andrew, I do. How does it feel to take something you don't deserve, just because you have money? Huh? What do you mean? Oh, come on. Everyone in class already guessed your mother bought those fake grades for you. Aren't you ashamed? How could you have possibly topped when everyone knows I'm the smartest? I never asked her to do it. She's not even my mom. It's not my fault. Yeah, your grades are better than your height. Dwarfs can't be the smartest. I stood there, shocked, and I decided it was time for me to tell the widow to change. But she said that she didn't mean any harm. She just wanted to help me get into some college, as it was my dad's last wish. I begged her to let me do it on my own. Eventually, she agreed. Sadly, that didn't pan out as I'd planned. I wasn't doing well in school at all. And without the widow's money, the teachers weren't so nice anymore. Why is your handwriting so big when you're so short? Are you so bad at math because it's hard to understand things with your teeny tiny brain? I flunked horribly and was held back a grade. My ex-best friend smirked and said, "Keep flunking and you'll finally reach a grade that suits your height. Can you just leave me alone?" "Oh, I heard wearing a pink hat while studying helps your brain work because the brain likes the color pink. I tried it, but it didn't work. Guess I'm already a genius." Or that you don't have a brain. As I left for home that day with angry tears in my eyes, I ran straight into someone. Andrew. "Hey, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" "Listen, just back off. I have enough troubles without you." But Andrew did not back off. The next few days, he really started chasing me all over school. There was just no escaping him. Wherever I went, there he was. "What's wrong with you? I'm trying to study. Stop stalking me." I'm just worried about you. Let me help you with your grades." "Why? I appreciate it, but you really don't have to feel sorry for me." "I don't feel sorry. I understand you want to rely on yourself, and I respect that. I'm just offering to help, and also trying to make up for being a jerk." Well, I knew he was a math whiz. If anyone could help me, it was him. From that day onwards, every night, he snuck in from my window to help me study. But he was so distractingly cute and funny. We were becoming super close. The night before the exam, the door flew open and the widow barged in. She started yelling at me. "Boys ruin everything. This is probably why you don't get good grades. You're so distracted all the time." Then she dragged him to the window and told him to leave the way he came. "He isn't my boyfriend. He's my private teacher. He's helping me with math." But she wasn't listening. So Andrew climbed down the tree outside the window and left. The next day, I passed the exam and was over the moon. I ran to him and threw my arms around him. I did it! I passed the math exam on my own! Then, before I knew what I was doing, I kissed him. And what an utterly stupid thing to do that was! because the minute our lips touched, he froze. I was so embarrassed. I let him go and stepped back. I'm so sorry.
Jane, I had no idea that you felt this way about me. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea, but I was just looking out for you. You know, like a little sister. You're just not my type.
Wait, what? I never felt so humiliated in my entire life. Without another word, I just turned around and fled. And that was my real first heartbreak. I refused to go down for dinner that evening and shut myself up in my room. A little later, the widow knocked and came in.
Do you want to tell me what's wrong, Jane?
I burst into tears and told her everything.
You were right. Boys ruin everything. From now on, I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to get a university scholarship and leave this stupid place.
And for the first time ever, the widow hugged me. It was really awkward, but also kind of nice.
I'll send you to any university you want. You just focus on studying really hard.
And that's what I did. I really focused on my lessons. And at home, the widow started to help me out too. She also had her chef make me really healthy food and gave me multivitamins regularly. She helped me out with all my college applications, and for the first time since Dad, I felt like I did have a parent. As I was about to graduate high school, our student counselor called me one day to her office to give me some really amazing news. You got into your dream university, Jane! Congratulations! I squealed in excitement and hugged her. In my excitement, I knocked over my bag, and my bottle of vitamins fell out. Just then, the counselor picked up one of the pills, looking confused.
Jane, why are you eating these?
Oh, they're just multivitamins.
No, they're not, Jane. These pills are given to kids with ADHD to improve focus. No one should be taking these unless a doctor prescribes them.
I couldn't believe it. Why would the widow do this? I rushed home and barged straight into her room, throwing the pills on her bed. Why have you been lying to me that these are vitamins? Why are you feeding me pills I don't need? Are you trying to poison me?
The widow looked stunned. Then she said, Jane, just let me explain.
I was only trying to help you get better. Oh, so you thought I'm so dumb that I needed pills to make me smarter?
I only want what's best for you, Jane. That's all I ever wanted. And then I said the words I would regret for the rest of my life.
Well, in case you forgot, let me remind you, you're not my mom. You're just a pathetic old widow, and you don't deserve to have kids.
And with that, I stormed off to my room. I didn't speak a word to her for the next few weeks, and then I left for university. I felt bad for the things I'd said, but I was too angry to take them back. I was doing really well at university and met a wonderful guy, Dave. He was the only person I'd ever met who didn't treat me like I was dumb, and he never made me feel little in any way. One day, while we were on a date, I got a terrible phone call. It was a doctor from some hospital saying the widow had been found unconscious in her home and was really unwell. Dave drove me straight to the hospital, and when I went to her, it broke my heart seeing her so pale and weak. I sat down by her and started to cry. Please be okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean those awful things I said. I love you. You're my mom. Just then, her eyes fluttered open. She gave me a weak smile. Jane, I'm so glad you're here, dear. I'm sorry, too. You were always so tiny. I became really overprotective. I see now that you didn't need that at all. I moved back with Mom to take care of her, and soon she fully recovered. I graduated with honors from university, and I was so happy she could be there. After university, Dave and I got married and had 2 beautiful kids together. We named our son after my dad, and our little girl after the widow, her godmother.
People call me the queen of entertainment, a famous pop icon, a musical superstar. You can take your pick. As for me, I like to be called the queen of hearts. Hi, I'm Ariana Grande. I was born in 1993 in Florida to overachiever parents who were super successful in their careers. Right since I was a toddler, I loved to sing. Mom would sing me lullabies and I'd sing along with her. You have a beautiful voice, my baby, just like an angel. I'm not so sure. I didn't get selected for the school choir. Don't let that dishearten you, sweetheart, and have confidence in your talent. I'm sure you're meant for greater things. Although I loved singing, I was also fascinated by theater and acting. I performed on stage for the first time when I was 8 in a musical named Annie. Are you nervous, Ari? No, not at all. In fact, I can't wait to set the stage on fire. And I did just that. That musical was a great success, and it marked the beginning of my musical theater journey. After that, I performed in so many other local productions like Beauty and the Beast and The Wizard of Oz. Life was going smoothly, but then my parents got separated. I felt devastated for a while. But thank God I had my pet dogs to keep me going through that tough phase. Just so you know, I have 10 rescue pups. One of them is named Sirius Black. Yeah, I'm quite obsessed with Harry Potter. But then, aren't we all? So by the time I turned 14, I decided I'd acted enough and now wanted to make a career in singing. I packed my bags and moved to Los Angeles to meet my managers. Guys, I think I want to make an R&B album.
That's a hell of a goal, but who do you think's gonna buy a 14-year-old's R&B album?
Well, that kind of made sense. So I went back to Florida and decided to focus on theater for the time being. Then when I was 15, I got chosen from among thousands of girls to play one of the main characters in a Broadway musical called 13, for which I later bagged a prestigious award. By this time, I had moved to New York, so I was missing school a lot. Mom, I want to continue performing, but what about studies? I want to finish high school at least. Don't worry, sweetheart. Your school has agreed to send study materials so you don't miss out on your studies. That was pretty cool. I was studying and focusing on my career, even though I was miles away from home. Then in 2009, I bagged the role of an adorable goofball named Cat Valentine in the famous Nickelodeon TV show named Victorious. Since the show was set in a performing arts school, it gave me an opportunity to showcase my acting as well as my singing abilities on a national platform. Thanks to the show, I was suddenly a teen idol.
So, Ariana, what's next? Are you looking at a career in Hollywood?
To be honest, acting is fun, but music has always been first and foremost with me. I was determined to give singing a shot, so I kept uploading my videos on YouTube where I sang covers of songs by Adele, Mariah Carey, and Whitney Houston. Meanwhile, the second season of Victorious premiered in 2011 to 6.2 million viewers, becoming the highest rated episode of the show. Victorious ran for 3 seasons until it was finally wrapped up in 2013. Then one day, I got the most unexpected call.
Hello, Ariana. I'm Monte Lipman, CEO of Republic Records. I saw your YouTube videos and I want to sign you up for the label. Are you interested?
Yeah, of course. I'd love that. I put down my phone and did a little happy dance. My music career was finally taking off. The next 3 years, I focused completely on my vocals and singing and collaborated with many contemporary artists. The result was my first album, Yours Truly, that debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200 albums chart, and it sold 138,000 copies in its first week. After that, there was no looking back for me. Today, I've sold over 85 million records worldwide, broke 27 Guinness World Records as a singer, bagged 2 Grammys, and was listed among the 100 most influential persons in the world by Time magazine. So friends, I hope my story inspires you to never give up on your dreams, since miracles do happen. Just believe in yourself, cause if you don't, who else will?
Get up, Dana. We're leaving now. My mom rushed inside my room in the middle of the night. I got up, still half asleep, as my mother packed my stuff. "What is it, Mom?" I asked. "It's your grandmother. She asked all the family to come together at her place." Everyone was holding back tears. We all got emotional. That is, everyone but my mom. My mom seemed impatient, always looking away. I didn't want to think about it at the time, but she looked almost excited. She acted proper enough in front of family, but once we got home, she went insane. She started smashing things and slamming doors. I went to try to calm her down, but was immediately to regret it. She told me that I was going to take all of my stuff and move into the basement. Our basement wasn't even finished, so I just moved a basket of my clothes and some sleeping stuff on the cold, wet cement flooring. When dinner came, she refused to let me sit at the table with her and Daniel. After they would have finished eating, Daniel brought me down some of their leftovers. It was just some half-eaten chicken wings and cold mashed potatoes. He told me that he was sorry and gave me a hug. Before he could comfort me, our mom yelled at him to come upstairs before he had to sleep on the basement floor with me. I thought she was just angry about something that happened at the party, so I waited a few days before asking her if I could move back into my room. She got all offended, saying I was so greedy. That's when she let me know that Daniel was moving into my room because it was bigger. So what? I asked. I'm just supposed to move my stuff into Daniel's room? She gave an evil chuckle and laughed a bit. No, actually, I was thinking about turning it into an office. You seem to be doing fine in the basement, she stated. I was waiting for her to say it was a joke, but she was dead serious. She even started painting my walls with colors she knew I hated. I argued with her that the basement was cold and covered in mold and bugs. She said that I needed to contribute more to her life, to give in to her demands. What have you done that makes you so special? She asked. I was just 14. Just like that, I went from the favorite of the house down to Cinderella. I tried everything to get back into her good graces. No matter what I did, she complained. Daniel could do the bare minimum and would be rewarded while I was punished for no reason. Like, take my junior year of high school as an example. I came home with straight A's. My mom's response? My classes weren't even that hard, and I was purposefully taking easier lessons so I could brag about my GPA. Daniel got a C, and she took him out to a fancy dinner for all of his hard work. I did all the chores while Daniel had no responsibilities. When I brought up how unfair it was and that we could try to share duties, she told me that doing chores was the least I could do for her to put up with me. She complained about the way I washed dishes or how the laundry was never folded properly. She also constantly threatened to kick me out on the street. If it wasn't for laws forbidding it, I'm sure she would have loved to drop me off at the curb like a trash bag on a garbage day. Daniel tried to do nice things for me, but she always found out somehow. For our 15th birthday, he got me a really pretty dress. My mom found it and ripped it up to pieces, forbidding Daniel from ever wasting his money on me again. Seeing as I couldn't depend on her for anything anymore, I decided to get a job. I worked as a cashier every day after school. She complained about how embarrassing it was for me to work at a grocery store. She said that all of her friends mocked her for having such a stupid daughter. That certainly didn't stop her from taking all of my money, though. She said that it was for rent and food, but I was still living in the basement and getting table scraps. Meanwhile, Daniel did absolutely nothing. Daniel may not have defended me even once, but he was never a jerk with me. I could tell he felt bad about how I was treated. He snuck me doggy bags from restaurants, and even though our mom forbade it, he would sneak me little gifts like chocolate or stickers. He was trying his best not to get on her bad side, and I didn't resent him. In fact, he was my best friend. I'll admit it, I was a little jealous of his life at first. One day I came home from my shift to an empty house. I knew Daniel had arrived earlier, but it was nearly midnight and highly unusual for no one to be home. Around 3 a.m., my mom showed up and she was in the worst state I had ever seen. I asked her what was wrong, and she chucked a vase at me. "It should have been you," she screamed before running up to her room. I decided to call up Daniel to see if he knew what was wrong. A couple of rings later, I heard a voice, but it wasn't Daniel's. The woman on the phone explained that Daniel wasn't able to talk right now. He was currently in the hospital because he'd been in a horrible accident. I immediately took the bus there to go and stay with him, angry that my mom told me nothing. He was in surgery for hours. I even fell asleep in the waiting room. A doctor woke me up and had a very grave look on her face. She told me that things were not looking good for Daniel, and he would have to undergo further emergency procedures. He needed a blood doctor fast. Luckily, since I was his twin, there was a super high chance we were compatible. Of course, I immediately agreed to be tested. The doctors were so sure that it was going to be okay, but they were all confused when they looked at the results. They drew my blood 2 more times just to be sure before they said that we were not a match. But that wasn't the most shocking news. My blood type was O, meaning that both my parents were O. Daniel's blood type was AB. Not only was this the rarest type, but it also meant that neither of his parents was O. In other words, Daniel and I were not twins at all. In fact, it was possible we weren't even siblings. It was a lot to take in. I'm not embarrassed to admit I passed out right on the floor. I woke up a few minutes later and frantically called my mom. She had a lot of explaining to do. I thought my mom would have been ashamed to be caught red-handed in a lie. She just shrugged and said, "Oops, yeah, I forgot to tell you that you were adopted." I was in tears, but she couldn't care less. She told me to stop being a drama queen and have consideration for her feelings as her son was in danger and she was overly stressed. I argued that he was my brother and I had the right to be confused. Her response? "That charade is up to you, Dana. We both know he is not your brother." She even had the audacity to complain that I couldn't even donate blood, like it was a choice. I ran out of the hospital crying hysterically and went straight home. I did not sleep, though. Instead, I picked up a few of my things and ran away. I always thought that being kicked out of the house was the worst thing that could have happened to me. I was wrong. Finding out I had been lied to my whole life was actually the worst thing. My life had crumbled. Running away always looks easy in movies, but it's pretty hard. For a couple months, I lived on the streets. Homeless shelters were pretty full, and my job at the grocery store barely made enough money to keep me fed. I had to sell my laptop and smartphone, and I stopped showing up to school so I could take more shifts at work. I wanted to learn more about my family, but I didn't know where to start. What if they also hated me? They did give me away to that woman after all. After living on the streets for nearly a year, I was in for the shock. Dana? A familiar voice asked. Is that you? I looked up to see Daniel. He was limping a little bit and still in physical therapy, but he was alive. I felt horrible that I had ran away like that and never checked in on him. I started to apologize when he pulled me close and hugged me. He explained how he missed me so much and tried to call all the time. He also said that our mom told him quite a horrible tale. See, our mom told him that I ran away because I said I didn't want to give anything to him. She told him that I didn't care if Daniel lived or died. He also said that he knew it wasn't true, but he only just got out of the hospital the other week. I didn't know if it was the right thing to do, but I explained what really happened. I was surprised to see that he wasn't shocked at all. You knew I wasn't your twin this whole time? He begged me to let him explain, but I was already running away in the other direction. When I showed up to my shift at the grocery store, my boss let me know that someone left me an envelope. I opened it and saw that it was from Daniel. He gave me around $500 cash and an address. He instructed me to buy a ticket and visit the address, and they could explain everything. $500 was a lot of money, especially for someone living in a cardboard box on the side of the road. My mind debated simply using the money for a security deposit on an apartment. For all I knew, my mother had left the envelope and wanted to send me far away from her and Daniel. Now, don't judge me for what I'm about to tell you. I decided to take the money and go on this wild goose chase to nowhere. I took a week off and booked my train there. It was about 9 hours of travel. I arrived at the address around 9 a.m. and decided to knock at the door. A woman answered the door and immediately looked uncomfortable. I recognized her as one of my cousins who had sometimes visited my grandmother. She shifted on her feet uncomfortably and asked what I was doing there. I explained everything that I had heard, and she told me that she didn't want to get involved and tried to slam the door in my face. I stopped her and asked her what she was hiding. She explained that she was my mother, like my birth mother. She was my mom's sister and Daniel's aunt. She had wanted to put me up for adoption, so my grandmother stepped in. She did not want me adopted out to some strange family. Instead, she convinced my mom to adopt me. I had so many more questions, but the woman simply said that that was all she knew. That's how I ended up with my mom. She and Daniel were actually my cousins. She said that she chose to get rid of me years ago and never regretted it. My real mother told me that she, unfortunately, had no interest in me, but she would do the right thing and pay for my ride back. I was devastated. It was bad enough to have one mother who hated me, but now I had two. When I got back home, I decided to confront the woman who raised me about everything. If she didn't want a daughter, she should have let me be put up for adoption. Daniel was excited to see me, but she was absolutely livid. She tried to close the door in my face, but I told her that showed me at least an explanation for all the lying. I don't owe you anything, Dana, she sneered, so leave my house. I deserve an explanation, I yelled. You want an explanation? You'll get one, she shouted back. I was tricked into taking you. You took everything from me. Apparently, my grandmother told her that if she took me in, she would make some changes to her will. My mom was a single mother struggling to support Daniel, and my grandmother was very rich. She thought that the changes in the will would get her rich. At my grandmother's party, she found out that she actually left everything to me. Even Daniel was shocked to hear this. She even left me with a generous trust fund for a goodbye gift. I never saw a dime of it. She felt like she wasted her time raising me for nothing but stress. She was jealous that I would get to live rich and fancy while she slaved away by raising a kid that wasn't even her own. I screamed at her about how selfish she was. All she cared about was money, while all I wanted was family. I had never felt so betrayed, and I bolted out the door. To my surprise and relief, Daniel followed. He let me know that I didn't have to give him any money at all. He just wanted to be a part of his twin sister's life. I got in touch with a lawyer and gained access to my trust fund. I am literally a millionaire now. If my mother had just treated me properly, then I would have happily shared it with her. Last I saw, her house got foreclosed on, and Daniel doesn't even talk to her anymore. I was able to afford to move Daniel and I out with my grandmother. She knew nothing about the drama in our lives and thought I had simply ditched her after gaining access to the account. We all live together now, in a huge mansion in a tropical region. I never imagined I would get to trade a moldy basement floor for a luxurious room with a view of the sea. But I guess anything is possible with family at your side. I felt someone bump against the bed and my eyes instantly flew open. It was my stupid brother Liam looking down at me. I spit at his face. "What are you doing here, creep? Go away." "I'm not here for you, idiot." He looked over at the lump of blankets next to me with big adoring eyes.
Is the Sleeping Beauty awake yet?
"No, what do you want from her anyway?" He whipped out a red rose from behind his back.
I want to marry her, of course.
"Ew, you're 9. Get out of here." And the flying shoe I hurled at him sent him running off, for now at least. Man, he was obsessed with her. Just as I was about to doze off again, Mom barged in. "Is my little Lily awake? I made her favorite breakfast. Come on, sweetheart, wake up." No, she wasn't talking to me. She was gently shaking awake the girl lying in bed next to me, my best friend Lily. "Hi, I'm Clara, and ever since my wealthy best friend had a fight with her parents and moved in with me, my crazy family is just all over her, and everyone acts like I'm the stranger." But before I continue, click like and subscribe. At the breakfast table, Mom kept piling pancakes on Lily's plate and kept slapping my hand away every time I reached out for one. "You can have them once Lily is done. Why don't you eat cereal instead?" Just then, Dad walked into the room looking red in the face with grease all over his shirt. He glared at Mom.
I should never have bought the car from your slimy brother. He sold me a piece of junk. Now it won't start again and I'm so late for work.
Before Mom could start yelling at him, Lily quickly said, "Why don't you just take my car and I'll tell my butler to send me a new one today? It's no problem, really." Dad looked ecstatic and rushed forward with his arms wide open.
"Oh, Lily, you're an angel sent to me straight from heaven."
But in his hurry to hug her, Dad tripped on something and fell smack into the middle of the table, ruining all the food. Mom rose from the chair furious.
"Seriously? You're such a loser. I don't know why I ever refused that man, who's now a billionaire, for you. I deserve to be married to someone rich and have his rich children."
Dad screamed back.
"Oh yeah? Who's stopping you? Go marry him now."
I rushed forward and came between the two of them to stop their fighting, but just then my brother pushed me aside roughly.
You almost stepped on Lily's precious toes.
Oh God, this was a madhouse. I just left the kitchen to go get ready for school, where I could hang out with some normal people. A few seconds later, Lily followed me to my room, and she was in tears. "I don't feel well, Clara. I can't go to school." I hugged her and said I'd make her some hot chocolate before I left, but she clung to my sleeve looking a bit terrified. "Please don't leave me alone with your crazy family. You have to skip school too." Okay, I will. Why don't you get into bed?" I wondered why she wouldn't tell me what had happened between her and her parents. What could be so bad that she chose to stay in this house of psychos instead? Lily settled into bed and handed me her favorite children's book, You'll Always Be Ugly. That's what my nanny always read to me when I was sick. Will you read to me, please? Just then, we heard a tapping sound on the window. I got up to open it and instantly ducked. A pebble was flying straight towards my face. It missed me by an inch. I was about to shout at whoever was throwing stones at my window, but I suddenly stopped. It was Tom, the boy who lived next door. I had such a big crush on him. We'd started talking some time ago, but ever since Lily had landed at my place, I'd been so busy with all the drama I'd almost forgotten about him.
"Hey, Clara, I just saw everyone leaving and thought maybe you'd want to hang out with me."
Before I could reply, I heard a man's loud voice.
"Tom, where did you go, you little rascal? You better get back here this minute."
Tom looked terrified, and in no time at all, he'd scrambled up the wall like a cat and climbed in through my window. I looked at him in surprise. "I didn't know you had a father."
"Oh yeah, he left his wife and moved back in with us again. My mom hates him, and they're just fighting all the time."
Suddenly, his eyes fell on Lily, and he froze. Oh God, was he gobsmacked by her beauty? Would he start worshiping her like my family too? But to my relief, I saw that he actually looked disgusted.
"What is she doing here?"
She moved in to live with us 2 weeks ago.
"You know she's a terrible person, and I hate her."
Lily jumped off the bed looking furious.
"No one cares, you jerk. Shut up, you cheater."
I sighed. How had I forgotten the two of these went out for a while and she kissed his best friend on his birthday? The two were just at each other's throats. How many times do I have to tell you I didn't mean to make out with him? It was an accident.
What does that even mean? Were you just pouting and fell on his lips?
Just then, Liam burst in with a cup of hot chocolate and glared at me.
"Aren't you supposed to be at school?"
"I could ask you the same question." He ignored me and turned to Tom.
"Dude, some crazy man who says he's your father is going around the neighborhood like a mad bull and asking everyone where you are."
Tom turned really pale. He dropped down on his knees and clasped his hands as he looked up at me.
"Clara, can I please move in with you? My dad is crazy and he'll kill me."
Oh God, how could I say no? And secretly, I really wanted him to stay. Lily was screaming in protest, but I said I'd ask Mom. I called her and she said he could stay as long as he did the dishes and mowed the lawn every day. Tom happily agreed and hugged me tight. I closed my eyes for a second and sniffed him. Boy, he smelled good. Suddenly, I felt him pulling away from me and screaming, "Ow! Let go of my hair, you witch!" Lily was right behind him, pulling his hair as hard as she could. Before I knew it, he tackled her to the floor. I got elbowed hard in the stomach as Liam and I tried to pull the two apart. When we finally managed to untangle them, I screamed, "Enough! You guys better behave or I'm throwing you both out." In the evening, as we were sitting down for dinner, Mom beamed at Lily and Tom. "Why don't you beautiful kids come and sit by me, one on each side? You're like the daughter and son I never had." Liam and I glared at her across the table. Like, hello, are the children you gave birth to invisible now? Before I could say anything, the door flew open and Dad came walking in with the biggest smile on his face. He looked at Mom.
Hey, you look lovely today. Oh, by the way, I need a divorce. I met someone and we're meant to be together.
We all stared at him with our mouths open. I could see Mom frothing at the mouth as she slowly rose from the table and her hand made its way across the plate. Before she could send a flying plate in Dad's direction, a woman skipped in behind him.
Everyone, meet the woman of my dreams.
Poor Tom fell off his chair.
Mom? What do you think you're doing?
"I'm sorry, honey, but your horrible father kicked me out and I bumped into this loser wandering around the neighborhood. He's the only option I have." My mom narrowed her eyes and said,
"Fine, you can have him. But if you want to live under my roof, you'll be paying for yourself and your son."
"Deal."
Dad looked shocked. "What? I can't believe you'd make a helpless woman pay to live here. I won't allow it. Who asked you? You can leave if you want. She can stay."
"Yeah, and I'm not helpless, you jerk. I could kick your butt easily." Dad just looked at the two of them.
"Fine, you women are crazy."
And he stormed off to his room. An hour later, he walked out of the house with his bags. And just like that, my crush and his mom had moved in with us, and Mom had made our place a hotel. I could hardly believe all this madness. "Mom, we don't even have enough rooms." Liam shouted, "I can sleep between you and Lily. Look at me, I'm tiny." Mom said that Liam and Tom would be in Liam's room. Lily and Tom's mom would be in my room, and I'd have to take the couch in the lounge. "What? No way! Then I'm sleeping on your bed." I fought with her for 3 hours. In the end, I was so tired I just crashed on the couch. The next 2 days were just crazy. Everyone was getting on each other's nerves except my mom and Tom's mom. They were acting like they were best friends, sunbathing on the rooftop and painting each other's toenails. When I asked Mom what we'd be doing for dinner, she said, "You can cook, can't you? Now go get me and Auntie some smoothies." Thankfully, Lily was feeling better and was helping out with the cleaning. She picked up the garbage bag and dumped it at Tom's feet. "Stop watching TV and go throw out the garbage." He didn't even look away from the screen.
"You're garbage. Can I throw you out?"
And before I knew it, the two were wrestling on the ground again. Liam shouted, "No one messes with my fair lady," and jumped right in and bit Tom's leg. I just turned around, slammed the door shut, and went back to cutting the vegetables. Why Lily chose to stay here and not go back to her parents was beyond me. And it was weird that they didn't even check up on her. Thank God the weekend was over. I couldn't wait to get back to school. But then we got the worst news ever. We found out about the pandemic that had struck the world. All schools would remain closed indefinitely, and no one was allowed to leave their houses unless it was an emergency. God, this was like my worst nightmare right now. A few days went by, and we were running out of food. I said I'd wear a mask and go to the grocery store. But just as I was about to head out, Tom and his mom dragged me back in.
Tom's mom shrieked, "It's too dangerous. You're not going anywhere."
Tom said,
"Yeah, babe, the grocery store's too risky. Maybe we can go look for wild berries or some plants."
Where did he think we lived? In the woods? It was cute that he cared about me, but he was kind of dumb. Anyone got a better idea? Then Lily said that she'd make a few phone calls and see what she could do. A few hours later, a truck came outside our house and dumped tons of boxes of food. There was enough in here to feed an army. Tom and Liam grabbed a pizza box each and started wolfing it down like monsters. The rest of us settled down on the table when Tom's mom casually said,
"I can't go to work because of the pandemic, obviously, so I won't be able to pay on time this month."
Mom quickly snatched away the piece of chicken she was eating from her hands.
"You what?"
"Oh, come on. I thought we were friends." "Nuh-uh. You only stay if you pay." Lily quickly intervened. "Don't worry, I'll make the payments this month. Let's not ruin the meal." Mom was thrilled, and thankfully we were able to continue with dinner in peace. Weeks went by with us stuck at home, and all everyone did all day was sit in front of the TV and eat. I could feel my own clothes getting tighter on me, and Lily was just busy stuffing her face with chocolates all day. One afternoon, when I was in my room and Lily was taking a nap, someone slowly opened the door and said, "Psst." I looked around to see it was Tom.
"I've been trying to catch you alone ever since I've moved in here. How about we go to the basement and spend some time together?"
I was only too happy to agree. We crept down the stairs giggling. Tom spread a mat on the cold floor. It was dark, and he took out a candle from his pocket and lit it up. Wow, how romantic. As we settled down on the mat, he looked at me and brushed a strand of hair away from my face. Just as he leaned in to kiss me, I saw something and let out a shrill scream. OMG, Clara, I think you just made me deaf. What's wrong? Tom, something is moving in that corner. The huge thing that was moving turned around, and when the light fell on his face, I saw it was Dad. Dad, you nearly gave us a heart attack. What are you doing here? He looked at me with sad eyes and said he had nowhere to go, so he'd been staying in the basement and sneaking into the kitchen for food when everyone was asleep.
Clara, you go up and I'll give your dad company for a while. I'm sick of all those crazy women anyway.
I said fine and left. And of course, I walked into someone screaming at someone. This time it was Tom's mom, and she was going ballistic because Liam had eaten her pizza slice. Mom cut in angrily. Hey, no one talks to my boy like that. He's a bad boy, just like his bad mother. Before I could jump in, Lily came forward to say something and threw up on Tom's mom instead. Mom was laughing hysterically while Tom's mom screamed in disgust. I walked over to Lily, who looked really sick. Lily, you really need to stop eating like that. I'm pregnant. What? So this is why she'd run away from home? There was a shocked silence in the room as we all stared at her. Suddenly, Liam burst into tears. I can't believe you betrayed me like this, my sweet, fair Lily. I told him to shut up as I hugged Lily, who had also started to cry. She said her parents had reached out to her and asked her to come back, but she knew they were ashamed of her for being pregnant, and it was bad for their reputation. Thankfully, both the crazy moms forgot their fighting and rushed over to hug her and said they'd take care of her. Mom moved Lily's things to her own room, and I moved back to mine. The next morning at breakfast, Tom sleepily came up from the basement. Man, I didn't sleep a wink last night. Your dad snores like a bear. Oh, Tom, you idiot! Mom's fork had already dropped onto her plate. That man is in my basement? Mom, let it go. He had nowhere to go in the pandemic. You make him leave this instant, otherwise I'll kick you all out. Before I could argue anymore with her, the front door burst open and Tom's dad walked in. He was crying like a little baby and he instantly fell down at Tom's mom's feet. I want my lovely wife back. I'll kiss your feet every day. I feel scared in that house at night. Dear wifey, hold me. Tom's mom played hard to get for like 5 minutes, but then she turned to Tom. Come on, let's go. I've had enough of this crazy family. As she walked out with her husband, Mom yelled back at her. You ungrateful witch. Tom kissed my forehead. Thanks for everything. I'll see you around, babe. Just then, Dad walked into the room. There's an army of bodyguards outside asking for Lily. They're here to take her home because her parents miss her too much. Lily burst into tears and said she was ready to go. As she was leaving, she turned to hug me tight and gave me a stack of money as a way to thank me. I was delighted. Suddenly, Mom snatched it out of my hands and gave it back to Lily. We don't want any money from you. You're just like a daughter to me. As she hugged Lily and we waved her goodbye, Mom pulled me in for a hug too. What happened to my mom, and can I have her back? Mom laughed. This pandemic has made me realize what's important. I love you, babe. Liam and Dad joined in for a group hug. As we broke apart, Mom glared at Dad. We will talk later.
Hi, my name is Sarah. And I'm Avery. We're identical twins from Atlanta. Please like and subscribe. When we were born, we were called the cutest babies in town. Everyone freaked out over our beautiful blonde hair and blue eyes. They called us angel babies. Mom signed us up to be baby models, and we were super popular. By the time we were 3, we were on every ad possible for baby products. From diapers to fashion, we were everywhere. And I loved the limelight. It's like I was made to be a star. I enjoyed school and wanted to be a powerful lawyer one day. So studying and getting good grades was really important to me. One morning when we were in 5th grade, we started our routine with Mom. Suddenly, Sarah screamed, "My face, it's burning! Mom, help!" Hold still. I think you have an allergic reaction. Mom quickly wiped Sarah's face as I watched in horror. By the time her face was clean, something horrible had happened. The reaction had covered Sarah's face in angry red marks. Oh my God, what is this? I'm disgusting. No, Sarah, it's gonna be fine. We'll get you fixed up in no time, I promise. Later at the hospital, the doctors gave us some bad news. Sarah's face was scarred from the reaction, and there was no cure. When Mom heard this, she nearly fainted, and Sarah was mad at me. You lied, Avery. You promised I'll be fine, but I'm a monster. From that day on, my life changed forever. Mom made me wear a pound of makeup to cover my scars. I wasn't allowed to be seen without it. The whole thing broke my heart, and I didn't understand why this had happened to me. In 8th grade, we met Julia and Emma. They had just moved to town and were also identical twins. They were pure evil. What's worse is everyone compared us.
Look at the new girls. They're so cute.
I love how they always match. They're giving Sarah and Avery a run for their money. Emma and Julia were our complete opposites and had red hair and green eyes. I couldn't stand them. Our rivalry began when they started working at our modeling agency. They were stealing our jobs. I can't believe those witches are getting more work than us. We have to crush them like the bugs they are. It's not a competition, Sarah. Why are you being so crazy? Of course it's a competition, and we're losing. And either you're with me or you're against me. Choose. Of course, I'd always put Sarah first, but sometimes she took things too far. One morning in the cafeteria, the witch twins walked up to us and smirked.
Aw, if it isn't the shy one. And the ugly one.
Why so sad? Suddenly, I'm not hungry anymore. Don't you have something better to do, like shop for the same clothes?
Nice one. At least we own our twinness. You guys are so boring and it's so plain.
Oh no, I'm tripping. I'm so sorry. It was an accident. Sarah left giggling, and I was shocked. I jumped up with some tissues for Julia, but she pushed me away. I'm just trying to help. I have a spare shirt if you want.
Don't touch me, witch. Just wait till this weekend's modeling competition. That grand prize is ours. We're going to end you. You've been warned.
That whole talking together thing is so creepy. We'll definitely be there, so bring it on. I didn't agree with Sarah's methods, but those girls got on my last nerve. They'd been nothing but rude since they showed up. The next day, Mom surprised us with a dozen designer dresses for the competition. OMG, Mom, we're gonna look so good. Can we afford this? They're so expensive. Don't worry, honey. We'll return them after. You'll just have to be extra careful not to ruin them, okay? I don't know about this. Come on, don't be a wet blanket. We need to win this. We'll show those wannabes who really owns this twin business. Later that night, Sarah came to me. Ave, I have a plan to beat them once and for all. What do you mean, Sarah? Just a harmless prank, of course, but enough to take them out of the competition. You're talking about cheating. We can't do that. Besides, I don't want to win like that. Is this really so important to you that you cheat and win? Yes, it is. You have no idea how hard my life is, always hiding what I really look like and afraid someone will find out. But still, modeling is the only thing I'm good at and passionate about. So yeah, I'm willing to do what it takes. No one is perfect, Sarah. Everyone is insecure about something. All models use makeup and whatnot to look better. And your condition? It's not as bad as you think. It's in your head. Easy for you to say. Are you with me or not? I am, but we will win this the right way. Every night after rehearsal, I snuck away to study. I was interested in a huge internship in Washington at a law firm, except I hadn't told Mom or Sarah yet. I was scared they'd be angry with me. On the day of the competition, we aced the first rounds. Our dresses were the talk of the circuit, and people loved our routine. But when we went on earlier for round 2, Sarah grew pale. We can't go on yet. It's not our turn. You look perfect, honey. Don't worry. Our routine went well at first, but just then, a bucket dropped from the ceiling and we were covered in sour yogurt. What is that? OMG, ew! The prank I'd set up for the twins backfired on us. If anyone finds out, I was dead. I had to think quickly, so when we went back to our dressing room, I knew what I had to do. It was them. I know they did this. We have to tell the judges. You mean the twins? They sabotaged us? Just then, the twins walked into our dressing room smiling. That was quite a show. Looks like other people hate you just as much as us. How delicious. Don't try and shift the blame. I know you were behind this. Suddenly, Sarah attacked Emma and then Julia jumped in too. Get off me, psycho! We had nothing to do with this. Yeah, let go. You've gone mad. As I pulled Sarah away, Julia pulled at her dress and it ripped. Just then, Mom rushed in and when she saw the dresses, she screamed. I told Mom it was the twins, but they refused to admit it. So the agency launched an investigation. but I was shocked to see Sarah rigging up the buckets of yogurt. We were disqualified instantly and the twins won. You did this? I can't believe it. At least I'm trying. You're the bad team player here. Do I have to do everything myself? Listen to yourself. All you care about is winning, and it's just hurting us. You've ruined everything. Those expensive dresses and our reputation. I won't be part of this madness, Sarah. As if you could do it without me anyway. You need me and you know it. Not anymore. I'm done. I never wanted this. After that, we were basically broke. Sarah had to take every single job she could get to make more money, and I began waiting tables at the local coffee shop. A week before our 16th birthday, Mom came to us with some big news. I may have just solved all of our money problems. Girls, pack your bags. We're moving to Japan. What? A huge modeling agency loved our look and wanted us to move there to represent their brand. They'd pay for everything and even move us into a huge penthouse apartment for free. OMG, this is the best news ever. I couldn't let this go on any longer. I wanted to follow my dreams and participate in that internship. The deadline was just around the corner, so I had to tell them. I can't move to Japan. Why, Avery? Confused, they stared at me, and I finally explained my plans for my future. Are you kidding me? I can't believe you're being so selfish. How am I being selfish? I never asked for any of this. All you've ever done is complain. Look at me. I'm the freak here, but I get up every day and I work. You've never taken this seriously, and now you just want to bail on us? Me? Complain? You're the one who can't stop competing with Emma and Julia. You're so insecure that you've let this stupid rivalry turn you into a witch. I regretted my words as soon as I said them, but I was so mad I couldn't take them back. I stormed off to my room and slammed the door shut. Sarah didn't talk to me for a whole week after that. What's worse is, they were going ahead with the move as if nothing I did mattered. One morning, I got a letter delivered, and it was from the internship. I was just about to open it when someone knocked on my door. Mom came in and eyed the letter. Is that it? Yeah. I'm not happy about this. You're not even 16 yet, until tomorrow. And honey, we can't afford this. I guess I just wanted to know if I could do it, Mom. I'm a straight-A student. Did you even know that? Mom looked at me sadly. I guess I've been so wrapped up in your careers. I've never really thought about what you wanted. I want to make a difference in the world, not just look good. Open the letter, Avery. Mom and I hugged, and we opened the letter together. Congratulations! You've been accepted! What was I gonna do now? The next day at school, I decided to look for Sarah so we could make up. It was our birthday after all. When I finally found her in the playground, I was shocked to see her with Emma and Julia. Well, if it isn't the traitor twin, what do you want? Sarah, can we talk for a sec? Alone? Anything you say to me, you can say in front of my best friends, Ave. What? Don't look so surprised. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Right. Did you hit your head or something? Come on, we're sisters, twins. Don't be like this. You did this to us. You've made your bed, so sleep in it. To think, I was about to give up my dream for Sarah, and she treats me like this? No chance anymore. The following week, Mom and I packed our bags and headed for Japan, while Avery went to stay with our aunt in Washington. Good riddance. The next few years in Japan were amazing. The company wasn't happy that it was just me, but I was determined to make them see my worth. So I worked hard, and by the time I was 18, I was pretty famous. I actually missed Avery a lot, but I could never bring myself to call her. I needed to work on myself first. Moving to Washington was the best decision of my life. I was my own person for the first time in my life. I loved living in my aunt's house, and the internship was amazing. They even offered me a summer job with them after I finished. I worked as an assistant for 3 years until I graduated college. Soon after, my boss offered me a full-time job with my very first case. A huge client was suing a skincare brand, and when I saw the name, I was shocked. It was the same company that caused my sister's scars. It turned out they were using sketchy chemicals and hundreds of people were hurt. I made it my mission to take them down. And when we finally won the case, I called Sarah. I told her everything, and I was surprised that she seemed happy to hear from me. We decided to meet at a cafe, and when I saw Sarah, my heart nearly exploded. I'd forgotten how much I'd missed her. That's such an insane story. Thank you so much for doing this. The company will pay damages to every client that got hurt. I made sure of it. Ave, I have to apologize. I know we were just kids, but I was so insecure and selfish. Can you forgive me? Of course I can. I'm sorry too, but in a way, I'm glad it happened. I needed to find myself outside of us. You know, I do, really. But no matter what, you'll always be my other half. Same here.
Hi everyone, my name is Sonia, and recently everybody around me has been convinced that I'm mentally ill. So everything started when I was working in a stock exchange office. I was making good money and I got to work with famous people. It was all great. I had a best friend in the office named Bridget, and I got to go home every night to my loving fiancé Drew. That was until one night when things started to get extremely weird. Drew began calling me nonstop, worried about how little I was home. His texts and calls were starting to drive me insane. I got that he was concerned, but his behavior made hardly any sense. But it wasn't just my fiancé. I noticed that my best friend Bridget was behaving really weirdly. She started showing up to work in really expensive cars, wore only designer clothes, and her face looked like a doll from all the plastic surgery she'd gotten. When I asked her where she had gotten all this money, she said, "I'll tell you when the time is right." So I did something I shouldn't have. I snuck into Bridget's office one day when she wasn't at work. The thought of uncovering her secret was just too tempting. About 5 minutes in, I had barely found anything and I was starting to feel crazy. I had even sniffed her dirty shirt in her office closet, thinking I'd smell a rich man's cologne. But it smelled like it hasn't been washed in years. Ew! Finally, I found a paper, and what was on it changed my opinion of Bridget. She had been stealing money from her clients for the past few weeks, and not just $20 here or there. It had been hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what was most shocking was that at the end of my list, I saw my name and credit card number, and I wasn't even one of her clients. She was stealing from my tab too. Without even thinking, I brought the paper to my boss. He told me they would call the police and they'd launch an investigation. The next day, Bridget came into my office to chat. She gave me my pads that she had found on her office floor. She knew I used the silly pink pads with flowers on them. Other than being embarrassed, I knew in that instant it was over. She was going to know it was me who told on her. The next thing I knew, the police officers stormed the room and were putting her in handcuffs. She screamed at me, telling me I was going to pay for what I did. It sent a chill down my spine, but I knew she couldn't do anything. A few days later, as I was coming home from work, a huge guy dressed in all black started following me. I changed sides of the streets and watched as he changed sides with me. When I started walking faster, so did he. My heart started beating out of my chest. I was terrified, and before I knew it, I had made a wrong turn into a dark alley with only one exit. The man kept walking toward me. I scrambled around a corner trying to get away. Who knew what he would do to me? I tried to squeeze under a sharp chain fence to escape, but my hips got stuck. I could hear him walking closer and closer to me as I struggled to get out. I couldn't die here. Finally, I managed to pry the fence up just enough to squeeze my body, but my lower part got stuck. Was I going to die because of my curves? I pushed the hardest I could until I passed through, but it completely ripped the front of my shirt open. I walked home covering my chest, embarrassed and terrified. I wanted Drew to comfort me, but instead he started yelling, asking why my shirt was torn apart. Someone tried to hurt me. I thought that these words would stop Drew from being angry at me, but it only made him go crazier. So I mumbled nervously, "A hippo attacked me." I don't know how that came out, but he totally saw through my lie. I was stressed when I walked into work the next morning. Lucky for me, my boss said he was going to send me to a conference a few hours away where I would have to stay in a hotel. I would have a chance to get away from the creepy stalker. But when I arrived at the conference, things were really tense. I tried talking to clients and other stock exchange workers, but all of them looked at me like I was a ghost. I started second-guessing everything I was doing. Did my breath smell? Had I said something stupid? By the second day, people had started speed-walking away from me whenever I came near them. It was like I had the plague. People were actually afraid to come near me. I couldn't take it anymore. I cornered someone and asked her what was going on. Through tears, she told me, "He said if we talk to you, he'll hurt us. He said doing business with you would ruin us and that you can't be trusted." When I asked her who, she pointed out the window into the courtyard. Sitting there was none other than the stranger who had followed me in the alley. I felt my blood run cold. He had followed me all the way to this conference? Bridget was really willing to go that far, even from her jail cell? I had to get out of there, and fast. I ran towards the elevators, desperate to hide in my room for the rest of the day. Of course, I heard heavy footsteps behind me. I could see the stalker rushing down the hallway after me. I banged on the elevator button, trying so hard to get out of there, but the elevator was too slow. Finally, it arrived, and I dove inside. The doors closed behind me just as the man reached them. For the rest of the day, I paced in my room, trying to figure out what I was going to do. Had Bridget told the man to get me, or worse? Every time I looked out the peephole, I held my breath and saw the man was walking by. I realized that I needed to get out of there and soon. If I went back home, maybe I could go to the police about what was going on. I would call Drew in the morning and tell him I was coming home. As I laid down in my bed, I felt something hard inside my pillow. I reached inside and pulled out a microphone. My heart dropped. The man had been in my room. In a panic, I searched the rest of the room. I pulled out microphone after microphone and dozens of cameras. I finally had some evidence, but at that moment, I realized my room wasn't safe. I ran down to the lobby, sobbing. I told the manager I was being stalked and someone had bugged my room. The cops came and escorted me up to the room. I felt totally relieved. This was going to be the end of all the drama with Bridget. But when we entered the room, there was nothing there. All the microphones, all the cameras, they were all gone. That's when I lost it. I started screaming about how they had to believe me. I told them I was being stalked, that I was in danger. I blocked the hall, telling them that they couldn't leave me. That's when the medical team showed up. They tried to get me to calm down, but I fought against them. One of them grabbed me and slapped handcuffs on me. They tossed me in the back of the car and brought me to a facility. When they threw me in that creepy, all-white room, I knew I was in trouble. They told me I had imagined the whole thing, but I knew that wasn't true. I was being stalked. I had seen the microphones and the wires. I stood up with my hands handcuffed behind me, and I managed to move the doctor out of the way. I ran out of the building as fast as I could with people chasing after me. By the time I was in the woods, I was out of breath and exhausted. I wandered for hours until I found a mechanic shop on the outskirts of town. I asked a man to cut the handcuffs off me, and he did. With my hands free, I knew I had to finally get to the bottom of this. I had to get Bridget to admit what she had done. I traveled to the nearby prison where I knew she would be. I signed in as a visitor and waited in a cold, dark waiting room for her to come out. Would she even meet with me? What if she tried to hurt me? Bridget came out, looking like she had aged 20 years. I started tearing up the moment I saw her. All the emotion was just too much. She laughed at my tears like an evil person would. She kept leaning over the table, taunting me and telling me she was going to come after me. I broke down, telling her that she could stop it already. Her stalker was terrifying me, and I couldn't handle it anymore. When I said that, she looked like she saw a ghost. She revealed to me that she hadn't sent anyone after me. No one would talk to her now that she was in here. She had absolutely no connection to the world outside this prison. My heart sank. If she hadn't sent the stalkers after me, if she hadn't put the cameras in there, that meant I had another stalker. I asked her why she had been threatening me, and she told me it was because she was so angry that I reported her. I had enough of the conversation. I ran out of the room, leaving her yelling after me. I walked towards the subway in tears and called Drew. He picked up, sounded excited to talk to me. He told me he had a surprise for me and asked where I was. I told him I was on my way back to the hotel, but I was in tears. I broke down about everything. The stalker, the police arresting me, the bugs in the room. He sounded shocked, but he tried to calm me down. He told me to just come home. We could go to the police together and he would keep me safe, even if it meant me stopping my job for a while. I felt calm for the first time in days. We would get to the bottom of this together, and everything would be okay. But right before Drew hung up, I heard something from Drew's phone. It was the subway announcer, only it wasn't for our home city. It was for the city I was in. It was for the subway I was standing in front of. Before I got a chance to ask, Drew hung up. My heart fluttered. Had Drew come here to surprise me? I raced back to the hotel to meet him, but when I hurried up to the room, I saw the stalker standing outside my door. I froze. He held cameras and wires. Drew stepped out of the room, carrying more wires. I couldn't believe my eyes. Drew was behind all of this? He knew my stalker? I screamed at him and he revealed the awful truth. I stayed at work so late he was sure I was cheating. He hired the man to find out the truth, but after I saw him following me in the alley, Drew changed his plan. He hired the man to try and scare me, thinking it would keep me from staying out at night or going anywhere that wasn't home with Drew. Before I left for the conference, Drew turned my location on my phone so he could see everywhere I was going. He was convinced I had to be calling the man I was cheating on him with, so he had the investigator put wires in my pillow and cameras in my room. He had even told people at the conference to stay away from me, so I wouldn't cheat with anyone else. I was shocked. He had put my business at risk and had nearly put me in a mental hospital. I told Drew that we were done, and I flew home to pack up my things. Turned out, Drew was the psycho one, not me. I was loyal to him the whole time, but that jerk didn't believe me and hired a creep to stalk me. I prefer to be alone rather than with someone who doesn't trust me. So what do you think of my story? Have you been with someone crazy like my ex-fiancé? Let me know in the comments down below.
Hi, I'm Olivia from New York. Please like and subscribe, because my story animated will give $1,000 to one lucky person in the coming 7 days. My supermodel mom and lawyer dad lived in a beautiful mansion with my sister Sophie when I came along. The minute mom laid her eyes on me, she was obsessed. Oh my God, have you ever seen a baby this perfect? People did have some strange reactions when they saw me. Once, a friend of mom's was visiting us, and she just wouldn't put me down. Oh, that dark hair and those green eyes, and that beautiful olive skin. Just let me have her. You can keep my daughter. Just then, her demon daughter came running straight at me to attack. But before she even got close, Sophie pounced on her. Then she kicked mom's friend really hard, picked me up, and dashed out of the room. Sophie was the most amazing older sister and always had my back, even against our mom. See, mom had retired, and she was just around me all the time, doing crazy things. When I was only 4, she had 10 women applying products to my hair and skin every day for hours. I'd sing non-stop to annoy them. Let me go, let me go. I'm one with the wind and sky. Just let her be, Mom. Why does she even need all this stuff? Oh, you wouldn't understand. You're quite plain and not pretty at all. But your sister's beauty is extraordinary. It must be taken care of. Her words seemed to make Sophie really sad, so I spat at her and slapped her hand away. Touch me again and I will end you. I threw such a big tantrum, Mom had to fire her. On my 5th birthday, my parents threw a huge party and got me a gorgeous cake. But as soon as I started eating some, Mom pulled the plate away. Sugar isn't good for your skin, sweetie. Here, eat a carrot. No, I want cake! Mom managed to snatch the plate away, but then I jumped onto the table and started stuffing chunks of cake in my mouth. Everyone was laughing as Mom came running and carried me off. Just then, a friend of hers approached us. He was a movie director, and he begged Mom to let him cast me in his next movie. My parents were only too happy to say yes, and the very next day we were packing up for a movie shoot in LA. But Mom, Olivia is starting school next week. Oh, school schmool. She can always join it when she's back. This is a chance we can't miss. Sophie was left behind with the nanny, and I was so excited to see her after 2 months. But next thing I knew, I was being whisked off to another project, and then another, and another. I never joined school, and my parents hired a tutor who traveled with us. I lived in this world of makeup, cameras, and strangers, and it was lonely. I just wanted a normal life. When I was 12, we were in Canada for a movie when I spotted some kids skating on a frozen lake from my hotel window. I ran off to join them, and seconds later, I heard a loud scream. I saw that a girl had fallen through a soft patch of ice, and she was drowning. I raced to her and jumped into the water. As I pulled her out, some people gathered around and rushed us inside the hotel lobby, and they were calling me a hero. I took off my wet coat and bent next to the girl, asking her if she was okay. She suddenly looked up at me with a disgusted face. "Ew! Get away from me! What's wrong with your skin, you alien?" Wow, was that her thank you? But then I looked down at my arms and I had purple scaly patches all over. What was happening? Suddenly, Mom came running in and dragged me away. And next thing I knew, we were flying back home to see the best skin doctor. He told us that I had a condition called psoriasis. It's a skin disease that happens because— Oh, shut up! Don't explain it to me, just fix it! But no matter how many doctors we went to or what we tried, nothing seemed to work. Mom, I can't do it anymore. Can we please stop these treatments? They just make things worse. So this is how you want to be, huh? Fine, I give up. You're not the same girl I had. You're ugly to me now. Mom, are you crazy? Her condition isn't her fault, and she's still the same person. But from that day on, Mom started ignoring me completely and canceled all my movie deals. Well, I wasn't upset about that. I could be with Sophie now and even go to school. I didn't want anyone to find out about my condition, so I made sure to wear jeans and a full-sleeve t-shirt on the first day of 8th grade. But the welcome I got was something I wasn't expecting at all. "Oh my God, you're Olivia, right? The movie star? Oh, you're even prettier in real life." "OMG, I love you! I'd do anything to have your beautiful skin." If only they knew. But for now, my secret was safe, and I was surrounded by all these boys and girls wanting to be my friends. As they led me to the classroom, I suddenly heard a voice that sounded rather familiar. Well, look who's here. It's the Little Mermaid herself. Have you shown everyone your fish scales yet? It was that girl from the frozen lake. What are you talking about, Donna? I rushed to her and pulled her out of the classroom. Listen, can you please keep my condition to yourself? Why? Why should I do that for you? Because I'm asking you to. Why are you being this way after I helped you? Oh, so what? I'm supposed to be grateful? Somebody else would have helped me if you weren't around. And sure, I'll keep your little secret, as long as you do what I say. With that, she winked at me and walked back into the classroom. Why did this Donna have to be at my school, in my class? I knew she was just gonna make me miserable, and that she did. She was making me carry her stuff, dumping all of her homework on me, making me bring food for her at lunch. I always made sure to spit on it first, but I was getting really annoyed. Oh, thank you, Olivia. You're such a good friend, and so humble for a movie star. But then she went really overboard. One day in math class, the teacher announced a mental math quiz, and Donna instantly passed a note to me. Answer every question by saying, "I'm a moron and I don't know anything." What? I'm not going to do this. She just shrugged and gave me an evil grin, and I knew my secret would be out as soon as class ended. The teacher started asking questions, and I was dreading my turn. Olivia, how many minutes are there in a month? I'm a moron and I don't know anything. What nonsense! Come on now, take a few seconds and tell me the answer. I'm a moron and I don't know anything. It's basic multiplication. You don't know how to multiply? I'm a moron and— Oh my God! You're just being cheeky with me, aren't you? Tell me, what is 2 times 2? I'm a moron and I don't know anything. The teacher immediately sent me to the principal, and Sophie was called in. I was given 2 weeks of detention, and Sophie was surprised at my behavior. As we walked out of the office, she asked, "What's going on, Olivia? That's really not like you." I told her everything about Donna, and she was so mad. What a little jerk. Olivia, you can't keep doing everything she says. These other kids like you, and they're your friends. So what if they find out about your condition? Sophie, you won't understand, okay? I don't want anyone to know. The way Donna reacted when she saw me, and have you forgotten Mom? She can't even look at me anymore. You don't know what it's like being told you're ugly. I don't know what it's like? Olivia, that's all I ever heard growing up. I was the ugly sister and you were the beautiful one. Everyone made me feel it. And it did hurt, a lot. But I realized that I'm so much more than my skin and what I look like. And so are you. Anyone who tells you otherwise isn't worth being friends with. Wow, Sophie was so amazing and strong. And she was right. I couldn't let Donna hold this over me forever. So the next day, when she told me to get her lunch, I walked over with a plate of spaghetti and smashed it straight in her face. What do you think you're doing, witch? What? I just brought you lunch. Didn't anyone ever teach you to say thank you? She flew out of her chair and leapt at me. As I tried to push her off, suddenly a bunch of boys from class lifted her away. Donna, are you crazy? Don't you dare hurt Olivia. You could have scratched her perfect face. Perfect? Oh, this girl is far from perfect, and you'll soon find out. As she stormed off, I was left to wonder what she'd do next. And I didn't have to wait for too long. A few days later, this cute boy Colin from my class invited me to a party, and I happily accepted. We were having a really good time, and as he led me to the dance floor, suddenly Donna came flying out of nowhere, and she shoved him away. Colin, get away from her! She'll give you her disease. And with that, she suddenly pulled hard on my sleeve and ripped it right off. The people standing around us gasped. Just look at her arm. She's probably got fish scales all over. I just saved you from a freak. You're welcome. Colin stared at her in shock and then looked furious. Donna, you're a psycho. I already know about her condition, and so do the rest of her friends. She told us. This doesn't change anything for me. She's still amazing and 10 times prettier than you. As everyone stared at Donna in disgust, she started screaming, and Colin had her thrown out of his party. Well, Donna was an outcast now. No one in class wanted to talk to her, and I was trying to be more comfortable with myself and started wearing different clothes too. But one day I was out with Sophie when I had a really bad flare-up, and my skin started itching worse than ever. She took me to my skin doctor, and he gave me some cream to relieve it. Like I was telling your mother the other day, the best way to keep it under control is to get plenty of sunlight. And wait, my mother was here the other day? Why, yes, of course. I mean, she has the same condition. Wait, what? When I went home with Sophie, I burst into the living room where Mom and Dad were sitting. Mom, you're such a liar. You made me feel so ashamed of my skin condition when you suffer from it yourself? What? How did you find out? I don't even want to look at you, Mom. Dad, I want to talk to you. I want to talk to the lawyer in you. I want a divorce from Mom. I don't want to be her daughter anymore. Olivia, please don't say that. I'm not ashamed of you. I hate myself for passing this on to you. You got it from me. I gave up modeling when I got psoriasis, but that was nothing compared to how bad I felt giving my condition to you. I just don't know how to deal with my guilt, but I should never have made you feel bad. Please, please forgive me. If only you'd shared it with me, Mom. I wouldn't have felt so alone and unloved. Baby, I love you more than I can say, but I was foolish and wrong. And I'm really, really sorry. It took me a while, but I eventually forgave Mom. I understood she'd treated me this way because of her own insecurities. But my true rock is Sophie, who always loved me unconditionally and made me realize my own worth.
Hi, my name is Rose, and this is the story of how my uber young dad started telling everyone I was his sister. You see, he could get away with it because he was only 17 when my mom had me and left me at his doorstep. One fine day, when my grandma opened the door, she found me sleeping peacefully in a crib.
Ah, there's a baby at the door. What are you going on about? Good God, there's a baby at the door.
They found a note on me that read, I'm going to college. Take your baby, you moron. P.S. It's called Rose. Immediately, Grandma started yelling at Grandpa.
You cheater. I loved you, and you cheated on me with a college girl. What? No, it's not mine. Look, there's a picture here. It's Jason's.
Well, long story short, as soon as Dad saw me, he hid under his bed and started to cry.
I'm too young. I'm just 17. What about my college?
But my grandpa wasn't having it.
If you're old enough to have kids, you're old enough to raise them. I'm not feeding another mouth.
Then he kicked Dad and me out. Dad decided to keep me, but he mostly seemed to find me annoying. Growing up, I was always nervous around him, so much so that I started to stutter whenever he was around. But then Dad found out that there was one major benefit of keeping me around. Once when I was 4, Dad threw a party and invited all his friends. When he told me to go to bed, I said, "If you let me stay up, I'll give chips to everyone. I'll even throw things in the wash. I promise, Daddy."
Fine. Just stay out of my face.
But just then, a group of girls saw me and crowded around my dad. "Oh my God, she's so adorable. Is she your sister?" That's when Dad realized I was what they call a babe magnet. All these girls were paying attention to him because of me. "Of course not." But Dad picked me up and pinched my cheeks.
Keep your mouth shut and you'll get a whole tub of ice cream for dinner.
Sold. After that, I followed him around the whole evening, telling every girl I saw, "I'm his sister. I'm his sister." I was such a success. Dad said I could have ice cream the whole week. From then on, I spent the whole day playing with Mila, my neighbor, and in the evenings, I was at Dad's game night or movie night. A few months later, Mila told me she was starting school. I told Dad I wanted to go too.
Why do you want to go to school? By the time you finish, the only thing you'll have is a baby, and we don't need any more of those.
"No, Daddy, I'll study."
Don't be a smarty pants. I need you to come to the park with me today. I want a girlfriend.
"No."
Listen, Mila, you should help your dad. I'm telling you this, and don't forget it. If you're not on my side, then you're the enemy. Nothing in between.
"But I want to go to school."
I said forget it.
The next morning, I secretly tagged along with Mila to her school. As soon as we entered the class, the prettiest woman came to me and said, "Hello there, sweetie. Are you new?" "Yes, I'm Rose." She looked confused and said my name wasn't in her register.
Where's your mom? I can't let you just sit in class like that.
"I don't have a mommy. I'm scared."
Oh, you poor thing. Where do you live?
I took her home, and when Dad saw Miss Maud, his jaw dropped. He invited her inside and was drooling so bad over her, he agreed to enroll me in school immediately. I was really happy at school, till one day in 6th grade, Mila came over carrying a huge pile of stuff I'd given her over the years, and she looked furious. "I'm here to tell you that our friendship is over." "What? Why?" "Because your dad is a creep. My mom told me he tried to flirt with her, also with my sister, and also with our babysitter, and also Mom's boss when she was over for dinner." "Come on now, don't go." "Why?" "Because I love you." "Don't love me then." With that, she dumped everything on me and left. After that, she simply wouldn't talk to me and told everyone in school that my dad was a weirdo, and so was I. I was so distressed, my stutter actually got worse. The only good thing in my life was that Miss Maud and the other teachers thought that I was really smart. One day, my teacher asked me what I thought about the poem we were reading. "It's okay, but I prefer Shakespeare."
What would you know about actual Shakespeare? She's a really big show-off. Always has been.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. My teacher gaped at me in shock and took me to Miss Maud's office, who was now the vice principal. She was delighted to hear my recital, and then she called up my dad to praise me.
Wait, I can't hear a word. I'll come to the school.
Any excuse to see Miss Maud.
I knew she was a genius, just like her dad. I always encourage reading in our home because, like Shakespeare said, the more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go.
I burst into giggles. Don't be silly, Dad. Dr. Seuss said that. Dad turned red as Miss Maud held back a laugh. Yes, she is smart. Dad was fuming all the way in the car. The minute we got home, he snatched the book from me and started yelling.
I don't see why you have to act so freaking smart, stupid. No one likes smart girls, especially when they're ugly like you. I don't know why my daughter couldn't be sweet and pretty, like Hinata Hyuga.
You're just jealous because you need to be as smart as me to date Miss Maud. I'd clearly crossed a line. I had to do some serious damage control. Pronto. If you stop bugging me, I'll set you on a date with Miss Maud.
What?
Yeah, she's also totally not married. I bet with my help, she'll like you too.
Okay, but this better work.
The next day we started Project Miss Maud. I helped Dad write the cutest notes and emails to her. Finally, she agreed to go on a date with him. They were meeting at the park, so I hid in the bushes to keep an eye on Dad. Things were going fine enough until Dad did the stupidest boy thing in the world. He stood up and said,
"It's amazing being amazing."
And then he tried to kiss her. Miss Maud clearly wasn't ready for it. She smacked him across the face and marched off. This was going to be such a disaster. Sure enough, as Dad got home, he started yelling at me.
"No more school for you. If I didn't get to complete mine because of you, you don't get to go either."
Oh yeah? You wanted to take me out of school? Guess you'll have to go through Miss Maud to do that, and she won't like it.
I don't care what that woman thinks.
Even though he never mentioned pulling me out of school again, we barely spoke to each other for the next few months. He just kept moping around the house miserably watching anime. When I finally started high school, things started looking up for me, because on my very first day, I found myself being wooed at the end of literature class. A shy-looking boy named Ethan slipped a note to me.
"Dear Rose, every time you're close, red goes my ears and face and nose. I wish the world froze. I'm trying to ask you out, I suppose."
I wrote a small yes in a heart and returned it to him. He grinned, and just like that, I had a boyfriend on my first day of high school. But there was one person who could never stand to see me happy, Mila. She'd never even noticed Ethan before, probably, but as soon as he and I started going out, I'd always see her trying to flirt with him any chance she got. One day when Ethan and I were sitting in the cafeteria, she just plopped onto his lap. "Oh, sweetie, are you sure about this dummy? Wouldn't you rather date me? I'm so much more perfect." With that, she suddenly turned and kissed Ethan. "Back off, Mila. He's my boyfriend." Immediately, he pushed her off, looking super red.
"Yeah, Mila, get off me."
Mila laughed brightly. "Well, whenever you're ready to date someone who doesn't sound like an idiot, let me know." "Mila, everyone has their own insecurities. We're teens, remember?" "Oh, who is there? Who is talking now? Dr. Phil? Are you there?" "Come on, Mila. Don't use my stutter against me. I know a lot of things to use against you. We used to be best friends." "Used, and that's a past tense. And it stays in the past. Goodbye for now." When is this going to end? Oh, it hasn't even started. With that, she literally skipped away, that crazy witch. As if Mila trying to ruin my life in school wasn't bad enough, Dad was giving her serious competition at home. Over the years, he had a string of girlfriends who would stay with us for a while before he dumped them. I was just so tired of finding some new bimbo at our place every few weeks. I even caught one of them stealing all our stuff before Dad threw her out. A few months later, Ethan offered to walk me back home one day. As we walked up to the house hand in hand, I saw Dad standing in the doorway. He saw us and looked like he was having a stroke.
"Rose, get away from him right now."
Why, Dad? What's wrong?" He marched to us and pulled me away from Ethan.
"I don't send you to school so you can become pregnant one day."
Are you crazy, Dad? Ethan and I haven't even kissed yet."
"Yet. You are never to kiss a boy, even hold his hand until you get married. Do you hear me? Or else I'm really pulling you out of school. You, stay away from her, idiot."
"That's it, Dad. You're officially crazy. I'm done with you. I'm leaving." I marched straight up to my room and packed my bags. By the end of the day, I was at Miss Maud's place. "I wish your dad would stop being so immature. You can stay here as long as you like and just focus on your college admissions." Yeah, I'll finally have some peace. But of course, I'd spoken too soon. After that day, I'd noticed that Ethan was mostly ignoring me at school and always had an excuse for not hanging out later either. I called him up one day to ask if I could come over.
"Oh, babe, I really don't feel well. Coming down with the flu, probably. I'll see you when I'm better."
Before I could say another word, he hung up on me. He'd been acting so weird, and I had a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. Later that night, when I was at the mall, I got my answer. There he was. Ethan, and he was kissing Mila. I was furious. I marched up to him. "So this is your disease, huh?" Ethan looked shocked to see me, but Mila just grinned at me and said, no, I'm the cure, sweetie." I glanced at Ethan, expecting him to look ashamed, but he just shrugged.
"Everything Mila has ever said about your dad is right, and I don't want to deal with all your drama. Plus, Your stutter gets really annoying sometimes.
All my anger bubbled up to the surface and I smacked his face before I stormed off. Days later, I was still furious about the whole thing, but I had bigger things to worry about. I was anxiously waiting for an acceptance letter from my dream college, but the next day I got an email from them and I was shocked. I was so sure I'd get in, but the email said I was rejected for violent behavior towards my peers, and attached was a video of me slapping Ethan. I marched straight to his house and banged on his door. He came out grinning. "Why did you do this?"
Oh, I thought you were here to apologize for slapping me. Fine, I forgive you. Give me a hug?
"Jerk, I'm going to tell Vice Principal Maud what you've done." For a minute, we stood in shock. I'd never yelled at him before, and suddenly my stutter was gone too. All I needed was a shock to my system. But I had to deal with him now.
Your stutter's gone? That's amazing. I'll take you back now. Mila's too high maintenance anyway.
Back off, you trash bag. I never want to see you again, and you're going to pay for this. And pay for it he did. While I started college at another place, Miss Maud suspended him for a month, which meant he couldn't get into the university of his choice also. One day the doorbell rang and I opened it to find Dad. He pushed an envelope into my hands and burst into tears.
Rose, I know I've been terrible, but I'm really trying to change, okay? I found out from Maud what Ethan did, and we both went to your dream college and talked to the admissions professor there to clear everything up. You can transfer to that place now.
I couldn't believe what he'd done. Did he just act like a parent?
Please, forgive me. I've been foolish and selfish and lost the people I love the most, but you're the only family I have.
My heart went out to him and I found myself hugging him. I forgive you, Dad. And maybe if you keep your act together, you'll be able to win back Miss Maud too. Just then, Miss Maud walked in behind him, smiling.
After what he did for you, I decided to give him another chance.
I couldn't be happier for both of them. Here we are a few months later, and I'm at my dream college now, and started dating an amazing guy who treated me like a princess. I could not be happier.
One night, I jumped out of bed when I heard her screaming. I rushed to her room, but couldn't find her anywhere. I was surprised when I opened her closet. She was in there looking like a scared little kitten. What happened, Mom? I asked, kneeling down. A shark took my disinfectant and wants to eat me alive. It's under my bed, she cried out while shaking badly. But we don't even have a pool, Mom, I said. She then looked at me closely and started to scream like I was the most disgusting thing on earth. Shut your mouth and don't come near me. You're not wearing a mask and gloves. Go get them now. Sighing in frustration, I jumped to my feet before she could get hysterical again. There was one time when I came back from school and found her with huge blisters on her hands because she washed them 100 times every day. The virus cases had been at 0 for more than a month, but she'd been acting like there was a zombie apocalypse. One day, my older sister Steffi brought her boyfriend home, and Mom didn't even let them come in until they took off their shoes and put on the special outfit she'd made, which looked totally ridiculous. Steffi said they looked like astronauts. Every time they walked, they squeaked. Mom took paranoia to a whole new level. She said that Steffi's boyfriend's neighborhood was dangerous, and she wasn't going to take any risks. You and your contagious boyfriend, Mom yelled at them while standing at least 2 meters away, of course, and squirting disinfectant at them. My sister was really embarrassed and decided never to come back home ever again. The week after that, my mom saw my older brother Seth talking to the garbage truck driver one night. She refused to allow him back inside the house unless he took a bath with water and alcohol in the backyard. Seth was furious. Just stop these stupid swab tests, temperature checks, and quarantines already. You're just overreacting, and it's seriously irritating, Seth shouted at her as he came in shivering. What if I don't? You'll leave just like your sister? Mom asked. Yes, I will. I'm so done with you. You're crazy, Seth yelled at her, and the next day, he packed his bags and left, and now it was down to me and my twin brother Sean, who had been a total jerk to us. One night, I heard Mom crying in her room. I stood behind the door and listened. Why did you leave me for that gold digger? You should have been here with me to take care of everyone. Dad left Mom years ago, and we never knew why, although we asked her many times. She always said, he's coming back. I know it. He will. Just wait and see. Grandma was also gone because of the virus, and it had made Mom even worse. I felt sorry for her. I thought maybe I could make her a chocolate milk, even though I knew she might scold me and wouldn't drink it. She didn't want anyone to touch her food. I saw Sean playing an online game on his phone and his dirty feet up on the dining table. What the hell are you doing, Sean? Mom's gonna kill you, I warned him. Oh yeah? How about this? He grinned and then suddenly started coughing on purpose. Mom came out of her room and ran towards us like a raging bull, ready to attack. Who coughed? I heard a cough. She demanded answers with bulging eyes. It's Sammy. She's been coughing nonstop, Sean said. To my horror, I tried to deny it, but Mom cut me off. Enjoy another 14 days in the basement then, she exclaimed as she dragged me downstairs. Mom, no, please, I cried when she once again locked me up. Sean had just finished his 3rd quarantine here, and the last one was because of a single sneeze. I had to get out. It was my best friend Amy's birthday party on Friday. I hadn't seen her in person since the pandemic started because of online classes, and my mom wouldn't let any of us leave the house. Amy's brother Harry would also be there, and I had a major crush on him. I had to do something about Mom. I heard another scream upstairs. Panicking, I kicked the door until it opened. I rushed upstairs and saw my mom holding a baseball bat while staring at the closed window. Go check the doors and windows. Make sure they're all locked, she said. Sean walked in and asked what had happened. A dirty man in a hoodie has been trying to get in. He was licking my window. He wanted to infect our house. He wanted to kill me, Mom said, looking horrified. Sean and I tried to calm her down, but we both got the shock of our lives when she aimed the bat at us. No mask, no gloves, no face shield. Back off or else, she yelled. Sean looked at me and said, Your mom is officially insane. I'm sure you're so proud. I dragged him out of the room and said, You're only good at making fun of people. That's it. I'm contacting Dad. He needs to do something about this. Sure, go ahead. Ask him to take me with him after. I'm tired of Mom, Sean said in frustration. She needs us this time, and we have to do our part, I said. Whatever. I'll be staying at my friend's place for the week. Tell Mom that the shark ate me if she comes looking for me, he said before walking away. How could they do this to their own mother? I was about to call the hospital from the living room when Mom appeared. You're supposed to be in isolation, she yelled as she picked up a lampshade and threatened to throw it at me. Mom, please drop it. I'm going to wear my mask now, I said. She dropped the lampshade as soon as I put on my mask. She then sat down on the couch, which she had wrapped in a special plastic, and burst into tears. I'm so sorry, Sammy. I'm so sorry. She was bawling now. I first sprayed alcohol all over myself before sitting beside her. It's like I have a special vision, and I can see the virus and germs everywhere, even when I close my eyes. Her crying got louder, but it stopped when I tried to hug her. The next day, I ordered ice cream and pizza and lied that I had made them all myself using the clean ingredients from the fridge. I then suddenly started coughing uncontrollably in front of her. Oh no, it was probably the cold ice cream. My heart started to race when my mom flipped into crazy mode again. She angrily pushed the dining table over and shouted, That dirty man is right behind you, Mom screamed. I turned around but didn't see anyone behind me. Are you sure? I asked. I swear, he was here. He was spitting everywhere. He wants to fill our house with the virus, with his disgusting saliva, she cried before running upstairs to hide in her room. While looking for any signs of the dirty man in our house, I was horrified to see that one of the windows in the kitchen was open. When I turned around, I gasped when a man pressed a finger against my lips. It was him, the dirty man that Mom was talking about. He was real. I was about to bite his hand and scream, but I froze the moment he showed me his face. Dad? He pulled me into a corner and started explaining. I have been trying to apologize to your mom, but she always screams whenever I go near her. I think she's hallucinating. That's why she thinks I'm trying to hurt her, Dad said. I couldn't believe he was back. He went on to say that his girlfriend had left him and he had nowhere to go. He was literally begging, and I didn't know what to do. I told him that Mom had gone insane, and he needed to work hard to win her heart again. Mom didn't even open her door for the next few days. She was in self-quarantine again. I let Dad stay with us for a while because I needed his help in dealing with Mom. Then one day, Mom suddenly went missing.
Dad found a way to break her door after hearing some odd noises in there, but she'd only left a note saying, "That man came back, just like I expected. I even saw him rubbing his eyes after holding the remote. I can't take this anymore. I'm sorry, Sammy. Take care of yourself. Mommy loves you, despite everything." Oh my God, what had she done? We asked for help from the police to look for her around the house and all over the city, but it had already been a month and there was no sign of her. A while later, I was in the basement and while I was going through some old stuff, a big rat ran over my foot. I screeched and jumped back, lost my balance and landed on the floor. Groaning, I turned to my side and noticed something under the rug on the floor. I lifted it and saw a trap door. I had never noticed it before. I opened it and saw a set of stairs going down. I went down and was startled to see a huge glass cage, and my mom was sleeping in it. It looked squeaky clean, with hand sanitizers and alcohol everywhere, and also herbal supplements and vitamins. Oh my gosh, she'd been living here the whole time. I tried to shake her awake, but she wasn't moving. Her skin felt cold, and there was an empty container of alcohol beside her. Panicking, I called Dad, and we took her to the hospital. A lot of procedures were done on her, and the results showed that her stomach was irritated from alcohol ingestion. She got treatment for it and started to feel better. It was 3 a.m. and Mom woke me up beside her in the hospital bed. "Sammy, wake up. The shark is back again." I told her to relax and go back to sleep, but she kept pointing at the window. I got up to take a look, and she was completely weirded out to see a shark tail poking out from behind a building across the street. I rubbed my eyes and checked again, but it wasn't there anymore. Wait a minute. What was happening? Was I going crazy too? It was there, right? I'm not crazy, Sammy. It was there, Mom exclaimed while shaking. I waited until Mom fell asleep before heading out of the hospital alone. While I was crossing the road, a black van suddenly stopped in front of me. The doors opened and a masked man got out and grabbed me and threw me inside. I tried to fight back and scream, but he had already handcuffed me, tied up my feet, and put duct tape over my mouth. I looked around and saw the shark beside me. It was a costume. I woke up in an unfamiliar room. The masked man entered with a younger, smaller guy. They told me that I was in an old abandoned house in the middle of nowhere, and I was devastated. "Who are you people? Why are you doing this? What did I do to you?" I cried while thinking about Mom, who was all alone now. "I need your mom to totally lose her mind, but you kept getting in my way," the older man said, which gave me goosebumps because his voice sounded familiar. No, it couldn't be him. My eyes grew wide the moment he took off his mask. "Dad? Why?" "Come on, Dad. Let's go before someone sees us," the younger man said, who I figured out was Sean. "Don't worry, sweetheart. We're not going to hurt you," Dad said. I didn't believe him. "You can quarantine for the rest of your life here, sis. I'm sure your crazy mom would be proud," Sean said before laughing at me. They were about to leave when the police unexpectedly barged in, along with someone who looked like an astronaut. "Mom!" Dad and Sean were caught off guard as the police immediately handcuffed them. Mom then ran towards me and untied me. She looked so weak, yet here she was, saving us like a superhero. Just as the police were arresting them, Mom suddenly passed out. We brought her back to the hospital and she was placed in the ICU. A CT scan of her brain revealed a small tumor. The doctor said it was the reason for her changes in behavior, but it was easily removable. I tried contacting my siblings regarding the hospital bills, but they refused to help. Steffi said that she was pregnant and had more important things to do, while Seth had started working again and was busy looking for an apartment. They said that they were done with Mom and didn't want to deal with her anymore. How could they be so heartless? It was Mom's 3rd day in the hospital when our family lawyer paid us a visit. He told Mom that Grandma had left a will, saying that she was giving everything to Mom, including her mansion. "I knew it. He was just waiting for your grandma to pass away," Mom said, and it all made sense to me now. Dad wanted all my mom's fortune for himself. Mom fully recovered after the surgery, and we moved into the mansion after a week. She then suggested something unexpected. "Why don't you invite Amy and the rest of your friends here tomorrow night? I'm going to throw a huge party." I pinched myself to check if I was dreaming, but Mom giggled and assured me that she was serious. We had some unexpected visitors at the party the next day. I opened the door and was shocked to see Steffi and Seth wearing the special outfits that Mom made. "What are you doing here, and why are you wearing those? I thought you said it looked ridiculous," I asked.
Where's Mom? We miss her, Steffi exclaimed. We just wanted to apologize. We realized that she just wanted to protect us from the virus, Seth explained. I was speechless. Mom heard our voices and immediately came down. My siblings acted like they were so happy to see her again. We've got presents for you, Mom. Seth gave her like 10 paper bags filled with alcohol bottles, sanitizers, face masks, gloves, vitamins, and a lot of fruit. Mom didn't say anything. She grabbed the bags and threw them away as if they were the most disgusting thing she had ever touched. I don't need them anymore, right, Sammy? She turned to me and I automatically nodded. Seth and Steffi insisted on coming inside, but Mom shut the door in their faces. Now, let's get back to the party, Mom said, and I just smiled in excitement. It was the happiest day of my life. I was finally going to his concert. We were trudging back home when I met you in the car. Saw nothing, heard no nothing, and my heart, whoa. Hi, I'm Stacy, and this is my crazy story of spying on my crush and finding out his biggest secret and the love of my life. After the concert, as we made our way home, my friend stopped in the parking lot to take pictures. Hey, get off! That's Russell's car. I noticed she'd left a speck of dust on it, and I started to clean it off. Oh gosh, Stacy, get a life. It's not like he'll ever notice you. I turned around to see Maya, the school queen bee, looking down on me. I told her she was wrong. We're totally friends. Are you now? Then I don't suppose he'd mind giving you his jacket, would he? He wouldn't mind at all. Great then. Ask him to lend you the one he was wearing tonight and bring it to school tomorrow. Or else. With that, she was gone. Oh no. What was I going to do? Stupid, stupid, stupid. I was so mad at myself for playing right into Maya's hands. Just then, I saw it. The key to my reputation, my only salvation. I knew what I was going to do. The trunk of the car was unlocked, and I climbed in. From there, I got into the back seat and grabbed his jacket, and immediately I decided to smell it. It smelled just as I imagined, like expensive cologne and aftershave. I couldn't believe I was in the back seat of Russell's car. I would tell our grandkids about it. Just then, the car beeped. Horrified, I looked outside the window and saw Russell heading towards me. I had to hide. He was too close for me to get out. I had no other option but to crouch down and pray he would just take something and leave. To my utter horror, though, he got into the car and started to drive. Oh no, I was sure I would get caught now. Just as I was thinking of letting him know I was in his car, he got a phone call. Hey baby, I'm on my way to pick you up. Can't wait to spend the weekend with you. I felt my heart drop. Russell had a girlfriend. I should have known. Someone so perfect couldn't possibly be single. From the conversation, I learned he was going to a cabin just outside of town with his girlfriend to spend the weekend. Then something even worse happened. Russell put on some music and started singing. That voice was not Russell's. Well, it was Russell's, but it wasn't his onstage voice. His onstage voice sounded like all the angels had come together to throw a rockin' party. This sounded like a walrus dying and giving birth at the same time. While I was still reeling from the discovery that Russell was nothing but a catfish, he received another call. This time, he didn't answer immediately and held his breath. I could tell, even from my hiding place, that he was tense. When he finally answered, the voice at the other end sounded robotic.
You got my money?
The turnout at the last event wasn't as big as I'd expected. I'm a little short. I need some time to figure it out.
You have until Tuesday.
In the back seat, I was freaking out. I'd only wanted a stupid jacket. I did not want to know my future husband was a catfish who couldn't sing to save his own life, and he was involved with criminals. Finally, Russell started slowing down and pulled the car to a stop. Thank God. Maybe he'd leave and I could get out. Just then, he reached over to the back seat to get his jacket and jumped when he touched me instead. Not quite the electric moment I'd imagined our first touch to be.
Who the hell are you and what are you doing in my car?
Before I could even say a word, he glared at me.
Stay down and don't even breathe.
The car door opened and his disgustingly gorgeous girlfriend hopped in. Then he started making out with her. This was just getting better and better. After what seemed like forever, he started the car and his girlfriend asked him to sing for her.
Babe, we've been over this. I've told you that singing for you makes me feel cheap. I don't want to ruin the beauty of what we have.
What nonsense.
Finally, we reached the cabin. I was thrilled when they got out, but my problems weren't over. Just as they got out of the car, someone else got inside the car. The person started singing along to the songs that had been playing before, and I almost passed out. It was an angel's voice. This was Russell's onstage voice. Who was this guy? Oh God, cramp in my leg. I let out a small scream and the car came to a screeching stop. Who are you? Why are you in my car? How many cute boys were going to ask me that today? And boy, this one was a hunk. I'm from Russell's school. This is all just a mistake, okay? Please don't tell anyone. He looked a bit worried. You heard me, didn't you? I won't tell anyone. I just want to go home. He nodded slowly and started driving again. We got to the cabin. He got out, and I waited for a minute before opening the door. As soon as I stepped out, I was pushed to the ground. Glaring down at me was Russell. Come inside. We need to talk. A huge bodyguard outside gave him a slight nod, but completely ignored me. The other guy, the real singer, was nowhere in sight. Russell led me to a private room and turned to me angrily. So, they sent you to spy on me. Who set you up for this? Russell, I have no idea what you're talking about. I wasn't spying on you. I was just trying to steal your jacket, but it was a dare. Maya dared me. He didn't look convinced. Just then, his girlfriend showed up and accused Russell of cheating on her, but he told her to shut up. She just stared at him in shock. Which one of you is involved in this? I need to know right away. I'm sick of this drama. She looked just as confused as I felt, but Russell locked the door. He said nobody was leaving the cabin until he knew who was blackmailing him. I told him I didn't know anything and begged him to let me go because my parents would be worried by now. His girlfriend started crying and asking him what was wrong. Then she turned to me. You witch, what have you done to him? He's never talked to me this way before. Just then, the door flew open and a man walked in. What's going on here? Russell jumped. Dad, it might be one of these girls. His dad quickly interrupted him and laughed. You didn't tell me we had guests over? I'll have arrangements made for them. He ordered the butler to have rooms set up for us for the night since it was too late to go back. A while later, while we were having dinner, Russell kept staring daggers at me. Apparently, he no longer doubted his girlfriend because she kept giggling and blowing kisses at him. Dumb bimbo. His dad turned to me and asked me how I knew Russell. But before I could say anything, Russell yelled, She knows! She knows! Immediately, the color drained from his face and he jumped from his seat. You good-for-nothing moron. You told her? Does the other one know too? He turned from Mr. Nice Guy into a monster in seconds. He started yelling at all of us and ordered me to go to my room. I had to get out of there first thing in the morning. As I ran out of the room, I bumped into someone and fell down. Oh, hi, it's you. He quickly shushed me and pulled me up. Hey, yes. It's me. But don't let his dad know you know me. He was still holding my hand, and I was pretty sure I wasn't imagining the sparks between us. Just then, Russell's sister burst in. What the hell do you think you're doing? Get away from him. Hey, chill out. She fell, and I was just making sure she wasn't hurt. I'll just show her to her room. I could feel her eyes drilling holes into my skull as I walked away quickly. On our way up, he introduced himself as Aaron. He said he was the son of the butler. Russell and I, we grew up together. We used to be great friends. Just as he was about to leave, the power went out and I screamed. I hated the dark. Aaron, are you still here? Oh my God, don't leave. I'm right here. He took my hand and led me to a nearby couch. We sat huddled next to each other in the dark. I really hoped the power wouldn't come back anytime soon. Suddenly, he started humming. I couldn't keep that question in anymore. Why would you let Russell take credit for your singing? Are you crazy? Do you not know how famous— He told me to keep it down and was silent for a bit. Even though I don't really know you, I like you and I think I can trust you. Then he told me that Russell's dad had been kind to his family all their lives, and in return, when he heard him singing, he asked Aaron to be Russell's voice. I guess I didn't really know what I was signing up for until much later. It kind of sucks that every pretty girl goes gaga over my voice, but falls for him. The power suddenly came back on, and we both nearly jumped when we saw Russell's sister standing in the doorway. How long had that creep been standing here? Aaron, you're needed downstairs, and Dad wants to see you first thing in the morning. When I went downstairs the next day, I saw Russell sulking on a couch and his girlfriend on another. As soon as she saw me, she jumped into his lap and started kissing him. Thanks for the morning makeout show, guys. Now, show me where I can throw up my breakfast. Where's your dad, Russell? Don't talk to him. Okay, psycho. Can you ask Russell where his dad is? Before she could scream anything else at me, Russell pointed towards the library. I knew I wasn't going home today. Russell's dad still looked furious. As soon as he saw me, he coldly said that they couldn't let me go just yet. You see, you know Russell's secret, and you were spying on him. Someone has been blackmailing him, and it could be you. I tried to protest, but he just wouldn't listen. He said he had called my parents and told them I was at their cabin and safe. Then he gave me till Monday to confess. After that, it'll be you and the cops. Till then, Aaron will watch over you. He sounded utterly crazy to me, but at least the last part didn't sound bad at all. Maybe Aaron would help me get back home. Just then, Russell's girlfriend skipped past me into the room. As she closed the door, I heard her say something that left me shook. This girl is perfect game. Russell will buy it in a minute. Who were they talking about? Me? Were they trying to make me game for something? Were they blackmailing him? Just as I was going to look for Aaron, I heard a scuffle. I went to check and I was horrified. Russell had Aaron pinned to the wall and was glaring at him. It's you, isn't it? Aaron was trying to break free and it looked like he was trying not to punch Russell. Let go, man. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Hey, get off of Aaron. Suddenly, I felt someone pulling me by my hair. Ow! Get off of my man. Hey, back off. He asked me if I was okay, and just as I was catching my breath, Russell's sister barged in. What the hell? Why are you clinging onto Aaron for dear life every time I see you? This witch wants all the boys after her. Why is she even here? She's here because she was spying on me. Probably for Aaron. Oh my God, it was just a stupid dare. What is this madhouse? Russell's dad burst in next, and he looked like he was about to pop a vein. What is all this stupid drama? Russell, have you forgotten what a serious mess we're in? Break it up. Aaron, take this girl to her room. Once inside, Aaron told me the craziest thing. He said that Russell never wanted to be a celebrity. He was never okay with the idea of taking credit for someone else's work. It's his dad. He loves the money. He couldn't care less about his son's happiness. Suddenly, I found myself telling him about what I'd overheard between Russell's girlfriend and his dad. Aaron didn't look entirely surprised. He said he would expect something like that from him. Then he said we had to help Russell. At this point, I didn't even want to look at Russell. But when Aaron said he had to expose Russell's dad, I couldn't say no looking into his beautiful eyes. We decided on a plan. Before everyone gathered for lunch, I found Russell's girlfriend alone and demanded to know why she was doing this to her own boyfriend. She looked at me like I was crazy. I told her I knew everything and that I wasn't buying her dumb bimbo routine. Suddenly, she started to laugh and said, "You're a smart one, aren't you?" I'd been hoping she would admit to something, but she just shut up until Russell came in and then she jumped into his arms. Dang it! I turned off the recorder. I went looking for Aaron and found him in the kitchen. No luck. I couldn't record anything. It's okay. You're smart enough to catch her another time. Then he pulled me in for a kiss. I was thrilled and I kissed him back. I knew it. Russell jumped from behind the fridge. I knew the two of you were plotting something behind my back. We both tried to explain, but he wouldn't listen. He said he knew neither I nor Aaron could be trusted. Suddenly, I lost it. I flew across the room and slapped him. Will you please just shut up and listen? He nodded, stunned. Then Aaron and I told him about what we'd heard. He looked at us in shock and screamed. He ran to confront his dad and his girlfriend, while Aaron and I followed. I don't trust any of you. Not you, not you, not you, and certainly not you. He said he knew whoever it was in the room. Aaron and I swore we hadn't done it, while his dad simply asked, how could I ever possibly hurt my own son? Russell simply burst into tears. He said ever since his mom had left, his dad had treated him just as a money-making machine. Now that I'm turning 18, you thought you'd blackmail me, didn't you? Russell's dad hugged him and swore he only did everything for Russell. Oh yeah? Then what about what I heard, huh? His dad glared at me and said they were talking about a model they had signed up to perform with Russell to get a bigger audience at his next concert. Then I told him again how I ended up in the car. This time, he either believed me or just didn't care and simply asked Aaron to take me home. Just as we were about to leave, he made a decision. Aaron, I'm quitting. From now on, you sing your own songs.
Aaron smiled at him and reached for my hand. Suddenly, the door flew open. No, no, no. Aaron, how could you possibly be with her after everything I've done for you? I made him quit for you! Everyone stared in shock as Russell's sister came into the room crying. She said she'd been blackmailing Russell with the help of Aaron's dad. We were so mad to see poor Aaron cheated like that, so we decided to help him. His dad promised I could marry him if I helped. Now you have to marry me, Aaron. Well, after that, things settled down pretty quickly. Russell gave up singing and picked up what he really liked doing, fixing cars. Russell's sister finally gave up her dreams of marrying Aaron, even though it took a while. Thankfully, everyone kind of forgave Aaron's dad. Aaron himself stopped taking Russell's money and started singing in small cafes, and he was gathering a following of his own. But he kept telling them he'd already given his heart to someone else.
I'll get you out of here one day, Karen. You just keep up your painting till then. I'll find a way for us both real soon. I felt ecstatic. Maybe he could take me in like that awful foster family had. I started daydreaming about it. Billy was a new friend I had made. He was one of the painters I had met in the parking lot. He told me his parents had gone to prison and Sharon had picked him up off the street many years ago. He helped me with my language skills whenever we were free. He often told me about his family, and I would tell him about my home under the ground and Coco. One day, when Sharon wasn't around, we were sitting in the lounge watching TV. Billy suddenly stopped at one channel. Sharon and David were on TV, and she had my paintings in the background. By now, I knew enough English to understand every single word. There she was, saying she couldn't believe people had fallen in love with her art overnight. She sighed and said, "I'm so busy painting, I barely eat." When they started mentioning the prices, my jaw dropped. I had started to understand the concept of money by now, and it seemed she was making a lot of it. Just then, David took Sharon's hand and said he was so happy to be with someone as beautiful and talented as her. He couldn't be prouder of her amazing work. I was heartbroken and so angry. I couldn't believe David had made such a fool of me. Billy was furious too. He said he couldn't let these people go on like this, and we should make a plan to escape. I was ready to go. Billy said, "Soon, you and I will be out of here for good." "Yes, and Coco, of course," I replied eagerly. He slowly nodded. We were struggling to come up with our escape plan, but after a few days, an opportunity presented itself. David was away, and Sharon had badly sprained her ankle that morning wearing her ridiculously high heels. Billy snuck up to me and whispered his plan to me quickly. Sharon was sitting in the lounge with her leg up on the table when I burst in and collapsed on the floor, screaming and holding onto my stomach. Sharon limped over and asked me what was wrong, but I just kept screaming and pointing. Just then, Billy came running in and said in fake panic, "It might be her appendix. She has to be taken to the hospital immediately." Sharon cursed under her breath. She started limping towards her car keys, but Billy quickly said, "I don't think it would be safe for you to drive with that foot. I can take her." Sharon looked at him with some doubt. Billy gave her a small smile and said, "I've worked with you for years, Sharon. You can trust me." She smiled back and handed Billy the keys to David's car. Billy picked me up, put me in the car, and we took off towards the hospital. About 3 minutes down the road, he pulled over and we started celebrating. This was way easier than we had thought. That's when we saw Sharon furiously driving up behind us, sprained ankle and all. Billy saw her first in the rearview mirror. Well, 3 minutes is how long her trust lasted, and she looked mad. Billy turned the car back on and took off like a rocket. It was a wild chase for a while, with him taking turn after turn, hoping to lose Sharon. But she gained on us and tried to run us off the road. I could just feel her eyes burning into me. We raced through a red light with Sharon hot on our tail. Slam! Another car hit the passenger side of her car. Billy pulled over to the side of the road, horrified. She looked like she was uninjured, but her car was a wreck. We sped away from the scene as fast as we could. Sharon was even more dangerous than we thought. We called 911 and told them everything, all about her operation and the forced labor in the house. They said they would be going to the house to investigate, so we headed straight back to the house to meet them. In no time, the police showed up and raided the place. They saw everything they needed to know. As we were getting out of there, I saw Coco waving at me from across the road. Thank God! I had been wondering where she'd gone. I asked Billy to stop the car. "That's Coco!" I yelled excitedly. "She's there!" He looked around and said, "No, she's not." "She's right there, Billy! I said impatiently. Billy became silent for a few moments. Then he said, Karen, you've told me all about Coco, and I know you talked to her, but you have to know the truth. She isn't real. His words hit me as hard as the other car had hit Sharon. What was he talking about? What do you mean? Of course she's real. Karen, there is nobody there. I've never lied to you about anything. Why would I lie to you about this? Tears started pouring down my cheeks. She's been my best friend forever. I've known her for years and years. Billy asked me gently, well, has she changed at all in all these years? That's when it hit me. My best friend was still as tiny as when I had first met her. I had grown so much taller and bigger, but she had always looked like she was 5 years old. I started sobbing, and Billy hugged me tight. He said he was my best friend now, and he would always stick by my side. I cried into his shoulder, and when I looked up, Coco was leaving. This time, I had a feeling she was leaving for good. Not long after that, David and Sharon were behind bars, and I received all the money from my paintings. I was rich enough to afford a small place for Billy and myself. We also realized soon enough that we liked each other as a little more than friends. Once word got out that I was the actual artist, I started getting phone calls to be on popular TV shows. Of course, my incredible life story about growing up alone in the isolated mansion came out as well. I became instantly famous. When I thought life was perfect, I received a letter in the mail. I didn't recognize the name. I opened it up, and it was a handmade card. And to my shock, the picture on the front was the image of a room I had painted in the mansion. I just stared at it and started to shake as I opened it up. Billy asked me what was wrong, and I told him to read it out to me. Dear Karen, your real name is Genevieve. I'm Hannah, and I took care of you when you were growing up in that mansion. As Billy read the letter out loud, I couldn't believe my ears. It turned out that my parents had both been artists as well. My mother was a painter, and my father was a mad architect. The isolated mansion was his greatest masterpiece. He had brought my mom to live there with him. Apparently, after I was born, my mom lost her artistic touch and was no longer the same as she once was. She became bitter and envious of other artists, and she blamed me. She just left one day and disappeared. My dad was heartbroken and desperate to find her. He would leave me in the mansion with Hannah to go look for her, but Hannah was not allowed to ever show herself to me. He wanted me to stay in isolation, hidden from the world. She just had to make sure I had plenty of food and water and that I was well. Hannah said there were cameras installed everywhere, and she would watch me often, talking to myself and painting in the mansion. His trips became more frequent, and he was staying away longer. Then one day, he just didn't come back. Hannah says she found out years later that he had died in a car accident. But then I had been growing up in isolation for quite some time, and Hannah decided to honor his wish and not reveal herself. But when she heard about where I was now, she wanted to tell me the truth about my past. I was already in complete shock after hearing the story. But what came next shook me to the core. Hannah said she wished she could tell me more about my mother. All she remembered was that she was the most beautiful woman she had ever seen, and her name was Sharon.
Hi, my name is Leah, and everyone says I do crazy things without thinking them through. My parents thought it was just a childhood thing and that I'd grow out of it, but things actually got crazier and almost cost me my life. Once when I was 5 years old, I woke up startled in the middle of the night. I definitely heard some noise downstairs. I jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to find a robber in the study. I ran to the kitchen, grabbed a big frying pan, and sneaked up on the robber. The minute he turned around, I hit him smack in the face and he dropped to the floor. Seconds later, my parents came running at the noise and called the police. I thought they'd praise me for being a hero, but instead, they lost it with me.
Why did you even go down alone? Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? What were you thinking, Leah?
To be honest, I wasn't thinking. My brain just told me to do it, so I did it. See? Crazy enough? Not only that, I also feel rather ugly. I wasn't as pretty as my older sister Amy, who mocked me for being a gingerhead all the time. So one day in the 2nd grade, I decided to do something to look pretty like my sister. I slapped some pink wall paint onto my hair and sprinkled glitter on it. I thought I looked uber cool, but the principal didn't seem to agree, and I got grounded for the 700th time at home. I tried my best to feel bad, But just then, I spotted the cutest cat limping on the street. Oh no, what if a car hit her? Without another thought, I was out the window. Just as I picked up the poor kitty, I stared in horror at a bus racing down the road straight towards me. It sharply swerved and crashed into a tree on the side. Just then, a car drove straight into the bus, and before I knew it, there was a 10-car pileup. Suddenly, someone grabbed my hand and yelled, "Run!" We both dashed away and hid behind some bushes. When I caught my breath, I saw a ginger-haired boy my age smiling at me. "Wow, you saved that cat's life. You're a hero. Also, your hair is really cool." And that's the day this boy River became my best friend. He moved into the neighborhood recently, and we became inseparable. Amy was one of the popular girls in school, and she and her friends were always bullying me and River. She wasn't that smart, so she often made me do her homework. One time in the 8th grade, I said I was too busy, and the next day she stole my cat. As River and I marched furiously up to her, we found her making fun of poor Lulu with her minions. "Look, Lulu, Mommy and Daddy are here. Why don't you two get married already and have 100 more ginger cats? It would definitely be an ugly family of losers."
Oh yeah? Maybe we will. And we won't be inviting you to the wedding.
Ew, River, we're not getting married, ever. Now give me back my cat, Amy. I'll do your stupid homework. And she did, and I did, but I did it all wrong. When we moved to the 9th grade, another drama was added to my life. We got a literature teacher who was an absolute terror. She always brought along a long, thin stick and hid it on our desks randomly. And one fateful day, she turned her wrath to me. "You, open your book to page 4, read the first sentence, and tell me what you think." Anna opened her lunchbox and ate her chicken nuggets. That means some girl Anna opened her lunchbox and ate some chicken nuggets? I have 2 words for you. Nuh-uh. The lunchbox represents the working class. Chicken represents weakness. And a nugget means small. So it means Anna is a small, poor coward. Buy a brain, please. What? When the lunch bell finally rang, we all got up to run out, but the teacher smacked her stick on her desk and screamed, "I am the bell, and no one leaves until I say so." Suddenly, I snapped. And without thinking, I snatched her stick. Everyone gasped and held their breath. And then I broke the stick in 2 over my knee. No one messes with a hungry girl. Of course, I was sent to the principal right away and given detention for a month. But when I went back to class, I got a hero's welcome. All hail Leah, the new school queen. River picked me up and twirled me around. Then he looked into my eyes and said,
"Leah, you're amazing. You've always been the coolest girl I've ever known."
And with that, he suddenly kissed me. My head was spinning with shock as everyone around us cheered. What just happened? I didn't have the heart to reject him in front of everyone, so I just kissed him back and smiled. Gosh, I never knew he liked me. That night, he left me a box of chocolates and flowers outside my window with a note. "I'm so glad you feel the same way. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. This was a nightmare." By the next day, word had spread, and I was suddenly experiencing something new to me: popularity. I had people high-fiving me in the corridors, and boys were smiling at me. But there was one boy in particular who sent my heart fluttering. No, not River, Dylan. He was the captain of the baseball team, and I could see Amy turning all shades of green as he joined me at my lunch table.
"Hey, I heard what you did, and that was really cool. I was wondering, would you like to go to the spring dance with me?"
Would I? Without thinking twice, I said yes. As he walked away, I spotted River, and my heart suddenly sank. OMG, how was I going to tell him I had a date with someone else? Just as I was leaving the cafeteria, Amy suddenly shoved me. A little too hard this time. I wasn't able to stop myself from falling and landing on the ground, hitting my head, and I blacked out. When I woke up, I found myself in a hospital bed.
"Hello, Leah. You fell down and hit your head. Tell me if you remember what happened before that."
I remembered everything, that which Amy was going to pay. And oh God, I still had to break my best friend's heart. But then, the world's best idea hit me. It was like the universe had sent me an opportunity, and I was going to take it. Without another thought, I said, "I don't remember anything." After asking me more questions, the doctor diagnosed me with anterograde amnesia. I pretended I couldn't remember anything, except my early childhood. River was devastated that I didn't remember him. He kept visiting me and trying to jog my memory. "Don't you remember the first time we met? You saved the cat and named her Lulu." "I named her Lulu? That's an incredibly stupid name. River, I'm sorry, but I just don't remember you." "It's okay. I'll keep waiting till you do." "No, I won't remember you. I don't think so." Ow! My head hurts. I went to the spring dance with Dylan and had the most amazing evening with him. When he dropped me home, I could see Amy spying on us from her window. On impulse, I pulled Dylan close and kissed him. He kissed me back. And honestly, this kiss felt just right. Also, it made Amy super mad, so life was kinda perfect. Except that it wasn't perfect. You see, it broke my heart to see River look so sad whenever I saw him, and I really missed my best friend. I didn't know how to fix this mess I'd made, but that situation took care of itself soon enough. One evening, when I was getting ready for a date with Dylan, Amy suddenly barged into my room and slapped pink paint onto my head. "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you liked pink paint on your hair." "I was 8 years old, you psycho!" Just then, I turned around to see River standing in the door. "So you do remember that day. Amy was right. You remember everything. Why would you lie, Leah?" The act was up, and I broke down. "Because I don't love you the way you love me, River. You're my best friend, and I couldn't bear to break your heart." River just stared at me in shock, then turned away abruptly and left. He completely ignored me at school and wouldn't respond to any texts, and I felt like I'd lost my best friend forever. But a few weeks later, he came to my house and said he forgave me. "I can't be mad at you for not feeling the same way, and I respect your wishes. So, can we just start over and be friends?" And I gave him the world's tightest bear hug in return. We remained best friends through high school, and even though we parted ways for university, we always stayed in touch. He found an amazing girlfriend, and I was so happy for him. I dated Dylan all through university and graduated with honors. So, studying engineering was the worst decision of my life. Joking, not joking. And the best thing that happened to me in this college is that I'm about to leave it. I would also like to thank YouTube and Google for helping me throughout my studies. And also, of course, my wonderful boyfriend Dylan, who God knows what he's doing right now, but he's coming to me, and now he's on his knees. Wait, what? To my shock, Dylan was holding a ring. "Will you marry me, crazy girl?" Of course, I said yes. And a month later at our wedding, River was my best man. A year later, I was blessed with a beautiful baby girl, Lisa. When it was time to go back to work after my maternity leave, I couldn't bear to leave her behind. So without another thought, I just sent in my resignation letter and quit. Dylan asked me if I was sure about my decision, and I said, "Of course, I'm totally ready to be a stay-at-home mom and cuddle with this patootie all day." But it turns out, being with a baby all the time can get really exhausting and sometimes just boring. One day when Lisa was 2, I was busy writing on my laptop when I looked up to see her eating my popsicle. How had she found my secret stash in the freezer? I jumped up and grabbed it from her. "That's mine." But when I saw her little baby lips quiver and her eyes well up, I sighed. "Fine, you can have it." Watching her turn instantly happy made me really happy. And I thought to myself, wow, this motherhood business really changes you. But I didn't realize how much I'd changed until a year later when Lisa fell really ill. After running all sorts of tests, it turned out that she needed a kidney transplant. And I was a perfect match. And I didn't even have to think about it for a second. Maybe you should try to find another donor first. Life with one kidney can be difficult sometimes. No one can be a better match for her than me, and I don't even have to think about this twice. We both underwent the surgery, and even though it took me a lot of time to recover, I never regretted my decision when I saw my happy, healthy baby playing around. Being a mother has taught me to put someone else above me, and making sacrifices without giving it much thought.
I've made a terrible mistake, and something awful is going to happen. I sneaked into the only place I'm not allowed to go. My parents' room. I couldn't stop myself. I was too curious to know what they were hiding. But I got caught. Now I have to fight for my life, running with tears on my face and nowhere to call home. I'm alone in this world. I'm an orphan who lost her real parents at age 5 and ended up with 2 complete strangers. I took a pause and sat on the curb. I needed to calm down. I tried hard to recall what had happened exactly, but I couldn't. All I knew was that one moment I was hiding, and the next, everything was in complete chaos. I saw everything around me shattered into pieces. I was standing in front of Clara, and she was going ballistic. Then she grabbed me by the hand and screamed words I couldn't remember. The room looked like it was hit by a tornado. What have they done? I jerked my arm away and started running in fear. Jacob was after me, trying to catch me. Luckily, I managed to get out of the door and escape before he could harm me. While I sat on the curb, a car seemed to be heading my way. I started shaking as it came closer. It was 2 a.m. and I was alone on the streets. I was so exhausted that I couldn't run anymore, so I just sat still and hoped it wouldn't stop. But it did. As the window rolled down slowly, I started to relax. It was a woman, and I knew who she was. "What are you doing here in the middle of the night, young lady?" It was Mrs. Jessel. She was new to the neighborhood. "Mrs. Jessel?" I started crying again. "Please take me to the police station, fast!" Without hesitation, Mrs. Jessel told me to get in the car. On the way, she kept asking questions, but I couldn't let her in on my secrets. I didn't know her that well. "You shouldn't be so trusting, Allegra, even with your own mother," she said as I was leaving the car. How did you know?" I asked in confusion. "I've heard things about your family, and I understand. You know where I live if you need anything. Now go, dear," she said as she squeezed my hand. When the policeman interviewed me, I exposed everything my parents did, but he didn't seem to care. "Allegra, I need you to focus and tell me exactly what happened tonight," he said. "I already told you, I can't remember everything. They hurt me and that should be enough for you to arrest them," I said, frustrated. When I arrived home with the policeman, I saw Clara and Jacob outside. They looked like 2 lunatics searching for something they'd lost. When they saw me, they pretended to be relieved that I came back. Someone give them an Oscar. The officer questioned my parents while I was asked to go to my room and let the adults speak. I hoped that the officer would ask me to leave with him eventually, but after 2 hours of waiting, all he could tell me was, "Your parents explained everything. I hope you understand that things did not exactly happen the way you told me. You're tired and need rest. Call me if you need anything." I looked at the officer in disbelief. My parents had managed to deceive him. "Thank you, officer. Have a good night," I said as I held back my tears. The officer left and I got in bed. There wasn't much time left to sleep anyway. Shortly afterward, Clara knocked at my door and whispered, "Sweetie, are you awake?" She came in to check on me, but I pretended to be asleep. When Clara left the room, I struggled to fall asleep. Suddenly, I heard a voice. I snapped alert and turned to see who was there. It was not Clara. It was a female stranger. I couldn't see her face in the dark, but something about her felt comforting. "Can I help you?" I asked calmly. But she stood there for a while before she said, "I know you're alone. That's why I'm here for you." "Who are you?" I asked. "It doesn't matter. You must run away," she said. "Run for your life, Allegra." "Why? What do you know?" I started panicking. Before I could continue, the woman disappeared into thin air. I called out for her, but the room was completely empty. I placed my foot on the floor and was about to search the room, but I fell down and woke up from the dream. That dream was the strangest I'd ever had. I went downstairs while my parents were in the kitchen making breakfast. "Good morning, sweetheart. I made you pancakes," Clara said with a cheerful tone. No thanks," I said. "Oh, that's okay. I can make you some bacon and eggs. I know it's your favorite," she said, cheerily smiling. Jacob was smiling too. I stared at them totally confused. They were acting as if yesterday never even happened. "I don't want food," I said stiffly, but they ignored me. It was as if they didn't even hear me. "What is wrong with you two?" I screamed in anger. They stared at each other in silence. "Can you please tell me what is going on? I feel like I'm going crazy. You've been hiding stuff from me since the day of my car accident. You think I can't see it?" I looked at them, waiting for a response, but there was only silence. "Answer me!" I shouted again. "We can't answer your questions, Allegra," Jacob said in a cold tone. Clara looked at him as if she hoped he wouldn't utter another word. There's something very wrong happening here, and I know it. I ran up to my room before they could respond. I decided that I wasn't going to wait any longer. I needed to sneak into my parents' room one more time. I waited until midnight, and I was very careful not to wake them up as I searched for their phones. When I found Jacob's phone, I quickly took it outside and unlocked it. His password was very easy to guess. As I was scrolling through it, I noticed that he'd been receiving lots of email regarding my adoption. According to these emails, my biological mother's real name was Lilith. I didn't understand why they'd kept her name a secret. There was some serious stuff here, and as I read it, I started shaking. There were police reports about my car accident. There was too much to read, but the phone started ringing. As I was panicking and trying to silence it, my parents came in. I put the phone under the blanket and acted like I'd done nothing wrong. To my surprise, they took the phone and went to their room like everything was normal. As they were leaving, I shouted at them and told them I was going to find out the truth. But they didn't respond. The whole thing was just very weird. I was dying to know what the documents said about the car accident. I had so many unanswered questions. Since the day of my car accident, I've been struggling to remember many things. It happened on a Tuesday. I was driving home when the brakes stopped working. I pushed on them, but the car never stopped. I thought it would be my last day on Earth, but luckily, I survived. It was a miracle, but I was in a coma for a month. No one expected that I'd wake up. When I did, I was shocked to hear that a whole month had gone by while I was unconscious. The recovery was tough. I was in pain, but soon enough I was able to go back to my normal life. However, I felt anything but normal. I couldn't concentrate anymore, and I couldn't remember many things. No one took me seriously when I explained it. Your MRI scans look perfect. You don't need to worry, the doctor kept repeating. Even though I couldn't think as clearly as I used to, I wasn't stupid. I was sure that my accident had been planned by someone. My parents, however, rejected this idea completely and told me that I was imagining things. Ever since then, I'd been suspicious of them. I stopped asking them for the truth and started sneaking around instead. I only needed some proof, something to show that they'd intended for me to be killed. But who would help me? I had no one. I thought about turning to Mrs. Jessel, but something about her felt weird too. I decided to avoid everyone until I found a solution. Some time passed and things kept getting weirder and weirder. I struggled to remember each encounter I had with my parents, but my blackouts kept recurring. When I snapped back to reality, I found myself surrounded by complete chaos every single time. I found myself crying every night. I was lost, confused, and lonely. The only thing that gave me comfort was the woman in my dreams. She had no face or name, but she kept reappearing. She was my only friend, and that scared me a bit. After all, she was not real, but she was what I needed. Whatever she was helping me stay strong. And without her, I couldn't have planned my escape. Every morning I grabbed a sheet of paper and started writing the things she talked to me about. I kept the paper under my pillow. It was the only thing that made me feel close to her when I wasn't dreaming. Something in this woman drew me to her like a magnet. I wished she really existed. Then one day, my secret dreams were not so secret anymore. I had gotten back from school when I noticed that my paper was not where I'd left it. I was nervous, but I knew exactly who took it. I ran downstairs calling out for Clara. My parents were sitting at the kitchen table. Clara held the paper in her hand and she motioned for me to sit with them. I came closer, shaking. What was going to happen now? Allegra, honey, we need to talk to you about this, she said as she showed me that piece of paper. Are you planning to run away? Jacob asked, looking worried. It's my private business, I said firmly. Allegra, we are extremely worried. We've been trying to get you the help you need. Please let us help you. I said, this is mine, I screamed as I snatched the paper from Clara's hands. But that's when it tore in half. I hate you both. Just leave me alone, I screamed and headed to my room. Allegra, stop. We have to tell you something. I paused. What? It's about your mother. Clara came closer and held my hand. Your biological mom has reappeared. We've been seeing her in the area. She came to us a while ago, demanding that we return you to her. I felt like the world had paused for a moment. My mother is here? Why didn't you let me meet her? I couldn't breathe. It's not that simple, honey. Your biological mother is dangerous. Jacob handed me some papers. This is the police report about the accident. You were right. It was actually planned, but we didn't want to stress you out while you were recovering, so we hid this from you. As I read the report, I was shocked to see her name as the first suspect. According to the police, they reported that Lilith had assumed that the car was my parents and she was trying to get rid of them. But you always said that my parents were good people. I could hardly speak. We didn't want you to know who they really were because we were afraid that would affect who you would grow up to be. We were just trying to protect you, Jacob said. But the report didn't end there. Apparently, while I was in a coma, my biological mother had been visiting me every day in secret. Another patient told the police that they heard her talking to me every day about her plans of how to reunite us. Suddenly, I started to connect the dots. The car accident, why I was having blackouts, why I couldn't remember stuff, and the mysterious woman who kept appearing in my dreams. Oh my God, this was even scarier than I thought. What happened the night you caught me in the closet? I pleaded to know. My parents looked at each other for a while, and then my mom spoke carefully. It was a blackout. You've been having them for a while now, and we don't really understand it. When you get upset, you get very angry and you start throwing things. When you snap out of it, you can't remember what happened. We tried to tell you and offered therapy to help, but the last time we did, you almost sent us to jail. I was the one creating all this chaos? It felt like the world had stopped. Why is this happening to me? I asked, trying not to cry. We're not sure, but we believe that the day of the accident was the day your childhood trauma started affecting you, especially with your mother's reappearance, Clara said in a gentle voice. I was overwhelmed. This was all very confusing. I started to feel like I was about to black out again, but that's when I felt my mother's arms around me. She hugged me and said, "Stay with me, Allegra. You can do it." I hugged her back and I slowly felt like I was coming back to reality. 3 months later, my blackouts started to disappear. I was aware of everything that was happening in the daytime, but the woman in my dreams kept reappearing and she wasn't hidden in the dark anymore. Slowly, I started to see more glimpses of her face, and I knew who she was. It was Lilith, my biological mother. These dreams were happening because of the many talks she had with me while I was in a coma. When I asked my parents about her, they had claimed that she was in jail and that I shouldn't worry about it. Even though I knew they were lying, I was okay with it. I had given them a hard time already, when all they had wanted to do was protect me. I must admit, however, that my biological mother had a lot of guts to drive me to the police station in the middle of the night. Later on, I asked about her, but everyone said that Mrs. Jessel had moved out all of a sudden, and no one knew where she'd gone. If anything, I've learned that no matter how bad my past was, it is now behind me. Sometimes it's better not to look back and try to move forward instead. Even though I had the urge to confront her, I decided that I wasn't going to look for her anymore. I would focus on the two most important people in my life, my real parents, Clara and Jacob.